ultimatetaxgroup.com.
In what's described as a humanitarian gesture, Belarus has released 30 prisoners who took part in anti-government protests.
It's 4 years since Belarus was rocked by demonstrations against its presidential election, which saw Alexander Lukashenko return to power for a sixth time. Governments around the world criticized the result as fraudulent, and protesters took to the streets. More than 1,000 were arrested. Now 30 of those people have apparently been released. But human rights groups say a total of more than 1,400 remain in Belarusian prisons simply for criticizing the government. They've also warned that prisoners are sometimes re-arrested soon after being freed.
The BBC's Paul Moss. South Korea says it has detected suspected trash-carrying balloons launched by North Korea. The latest round of a Cold War-style psychological warfare between the war-divided rivals. News and analysis, townhall.com. A federal judge says New Mexico election regulators and prosecutors discriminated against a Republican-backed group in refusing access to voter registration rolls.
The Friday ruling from U.S. District Judge James Browning bars the state from refusing to turn over voter data to Voter Reference Foundation. The decision bolsters the group's efforts to expand a free database of registered voters so that groups and individuals can take it upon themselves to try to find potential irregularities or fraud. State prosecutors plan to appeal the ruling. Election officials and privacy advocates say voter lists could find their way into the hands of malicious actors or disenfranchise voters through intimidation and canceled registrations. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Ahead of his scheduled sentencing in a couple of weeks, former President Trump has failed to have his New York criminal case moved from state to federal court. U.S. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein denying the Trump legal team's request, just as he did before. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy, see? Yesterday the week started, now you're in the middle of the week already. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Look at you go.
Yeah, happy Wednesday.
Halfway there already.
Yeah. Tomorrow's Thursday, and then the weekend. Friday and everything else goes into it.
Day off, day on, lemon on a pear.
So yesterday you're like, Monday. Now you're like, oh, dang, weekend's like day after tomorrow. Yeah.
Yesterday was... The day before yesterday was deceptive. Because it was livable. Like, I could, act like a human being and go from place to place without dying.
Beautiful weather.
And then yesterday was awful. It wasn't as hot, but man, was it humid.
A little humid, yeah.
All those clouds hanging around, none of them doing any good, blocking the sun.
But I'll tell you this. I'll take yesterday over 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 100%. 100p. Yes, but still drenched and not loving it.
Well, there's still moisture in the air.
Yeah. And
they're like what they're saying right now is it's not going to rain today, but don't be surprised if you see a little rain. That's what they're saying.
Hey, we're not saying, but maybe.
Yeah. Like Thursday, they straight up say like a 40% chance of evening showers or something. Today, no talk, but the weather people are like, well, don't be surprised if you just diddy bopping along and some rain pops out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when you ask a meteorologist their opinion and they go, yeah, it's going way or the other, you know.
Yeah. Which I kind of like those. When I don't expect the rain and the rain comes, those are the happiest of rain.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, those are gifts.
So today's going to be one of those days. Probably will rain, but you never know. You might be diddy bopping around and something just cracks open out of the sky there.
Yeah. A couple of clouds.
Yeah.
Looking for it.
It's possible.
Holding out for it.
Yeah. Don't forget, of course, we will have football this weekend. Of course, Goddard, Roswell, Friday night. We'll have those games for you. The Goddard matchup will be on our sister station, 106.1 FM Fiero. The Coyote matchup right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Bulldogs play Saturday.
Yep.
So you'll catch that game on our sister station, 990 AM, and video KSVP TV. They go to Cruces.
Yeah, they're heading to Cruces to take on Centennial. Yeah. Goddard taking on Albuquerque Valley. I believe.
In Albuquerque.
In Albuquerque.
Yep, and Coyotes are home here.
And we're home playing Hobbs, the Coyotes.
Which, by the way, they defeated the Bulldogs last week. So, big game.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of sleeper teams this year, and I think a lot of it comes down to the redistricting.
Yeah,
and
I'd never call Hobbs a sleeper. I mean, Hobbs is even in their
they
down
have
years,
their off seasons. That's the thing.
But they're usually still pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're never like a team that you look at like, oh yeah, this is a walkover game. No, even their down years, they beat people.
Right.
But I think they're pretty good this year after beating Artesia last Friday night.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting.
Absolutely. So, but we'll have all that action for you. Don't forget, we'll also have Eastern New Mexico Greyhound football Saturday night. They're home. I can't remember who they're playing, but they play Saturday night, 6 p.m.
Yes.
You can hear that game right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. So
absolutely.
They will be back home. Hopefully their Comrex was working this time. See, last Thursday, they got a Comrex is like a piece of equipment that's pretty high techy in our world. It's good, and it's good for getting broadcasts that are not in your studio to the studio. That's kind of, in a nutshell what they do.
Right.
And so Doc and those guys got a Comrex, which they're not cheap, and we don't have them either.
Yeah.
We use other cheapo internet ways to get this stuff done.
2 cups and a string.
That's right, and some squirrels. But they couldn't get the Comrex working Thursday in Las Vegas, so they went old school. They went with the bag phone. So hopefully they'll get the Comrex up and running in their home stadium, and we get to see because that'll sound way better.
Oh yeah,
it won't sound like a phone feed. It'll sound like Sean and I talking to you right now. In your ear.
Inside your ear hole.
So, but hopefully they'll get that up and running and working, and we'll have a good broadcast for you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. So we're just thinking about that. The world, if you ever really get a chance to dive into it, and I don't recommend it, the world of ASMR is so bizarre. Like the stuff that people will do quietly while whispering right next to the microphone. It's so weird. They'll take like a comb, and they'll pluck each of the teeth of the comb right next to the microphone, and then they'll do this thing where they tap it. It's like, what are you do? Who's into that? Who's into this? I mean, so weird.
You know what?
It's not my thing. I know.
I had an ASMR moment watching regular contented programming yesterday.
Really?
Yesterday, just so happened. You mentioned ASMR, so I'm like, I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
On Netflix, by the way, I highly recommend it if you're a bit of a history buff. On Netflix right now, there is a documentary series about the gunfight at the OK Corral. The whole it's narrated by Ed Harris.
Okay.
And it's 3 or 4 or 5 episodes. I don't know. I'm like the 3rd episode now, and it's the whole OK Corral. It's basically Wyatt Earp, the Earps versus the Cowboys, which was like the mafia. And so, like, if you've seen Tombstone or the Wyatt Earp movie that came out right around the same time, it tells the story. And this documentary series is the more factual of that. It and to be honest, some of the stuff in Tombstone Wyatt Earp is pretty spot on. But some of the details and some of the...
Well, here's the thing. They didn't look nearly that good in real life.
I don't know. The Ed Harris actors look pretty good. So
the actors that were hired to portray said historical figures much more attractive.
But it's actually quite interesting. Just the who begat who and what, and Wyatt Earp and Law. And to be honest, the part that in the documentary that I love, it's placing the events of the OK Corral in the scope of the world and the impact it had on the world at the time.
Oh, that's interesting, because you don't really think about what's happening other places while this is going on.
And it's all because it all begats this. I mean, it goes back into the Civil War with some of this, North versus South. Seriously.
No. It's just that literally just reminded me of a meme.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything, but it showed A1 steak sauce and it said like EST 18 like 63 or something, and just said, so somewhere in the middle of the Civil War, somebody decided, you know what this world needs? A tasty steak sauce.
Well, maybe they were in Europe, didn't care about things like that.
But I digress. I apologize.
But anyway, so it stems from some
really
of that,
cool.
kind of the off, because this is only the Earps and all that. This is 16 years after the Civil War, and once the Civil War ends, people didn't go back home, and there was still some feelings, and people felt a way, and
sure.
And to be honest, many in the South at the time kind of looked at like, hey, I'm not a part of this United States thing. These people are my aggressors. And so OK Corral comes into that. And the cowboys and some of that mindset comes from an anti-government thing. These guys are cattle rustlers. They're going and stealing horses in Mexico or cattle in Mexico and bringing it and selling it on the cheap back in the States. And that's what's going on with this cowboy mafia, basically. And so the Earps are going to break that up. But anyway, but it's talking about, because like guys like JP Morgan and stuff are over in Europe right now trying to get European investors and trying to do, put United States in the financial forefront here. And so he's over there doing his thing. And just a year before, there's an assassination on the president here, right before that. And then, so that news is getting to Europe. And then right after that, a gunfight. And now the lawmen are the ones on trial here, not because that's the other thing. The Cowboys, they do. This is almost like your first PR campaign where they got the world to actually think the Earps might be, the in the wrong here. And so that's the trial, and the people, and literally they're watching this like the OJ trial back in our day, seeing, is this going to be here? And it's very interesting. We watch Tombstone and all that, but you don't see the ripple that thing created like in the world. And Europeans were kind of like, what's going on in America? You guys got this. We're not investing. We're not doing. And so it's kind of a neat documentary to see the bigger footprint of the OK Corral.
And that's part of the reason I get so angry with like modern like documentaries and stuff. It's like, because when they end, it's just, well, we went click. It's just we flipped it off. No, there's feelings, there's emotions, there's after effects, there's things that are affected by that. So
sure,
that's really neat to see that how that rippled out.
So it's on Netflix. I highly recommend it if you like it. And they actually they produce it in a way that's entertaining. So if you're not a documentary guy, they kind of film it. So it's in that History Channel more modern style where it's film meets documentary, where they're getting a much bigger budget and they're getting Ridley Scott like guys to recreate the battle scenes and stuff. So it's highly produced. So the gunfights and everything are very good. And they Zapruder filmed the heck out of the OK Corral.
Really?
Which is kind of interesting. Like who shot first, where, what came, because there's so many conflicting stories.
Sure.
So many things. And so and that's all Ike Clanton and all of what he did in his PR campaign. So it's quite interesting.
And it's called what?
What is it called? It's called, it's Ed
you
Harris.
really need to pay more attention to the title screens of things.
I'm sure it has something about Tombstone in the title or OK Corral. Okay. Short of that, it was like one of the first things that popped up on Netflix. That's how I found it.
It is called Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy Way.
That's it. Not Cowboy Way.
Cowboy War. Sorry.
Cowboy War.
It cuts off at WA. So I was like, we're gonna throw out
and the Cowboy War, and that's what the Cowboys. And oh, by the way, if you did watch the movie Tombstone, and they talk about the Cowboys in that one, if you've seen the movie, and they delineate by saying all the Cowboys wear the red sash and all that.
Right.
In reality, the Cowboys did have an identifying mark. They all wore you know how the brim in your cowboy hat? They all wore a snake. They had a snake snake brim, and you could tell a cowboy by the snake brim on their hat. That was generally the unwritten rule, not the red sash. Of course, that looked prettier for Hollywood.
Well, It's more showy.
But that's
for sure.
the thing. The sash thing was a thing, but it was not sashes. It was the cowboy. But anyway, check out the documentary.
Yeah,
I think
I'm curious.
It's worth it. But anyway, the only reason I brought that up because there's a scene in there where Sheriff Behan is eating dinner with his soon-to-be ex-wife. Spoiler alert, in case you don't know the story. And I guess she made him some soup and some kind of liquid. But the whole time he's talking to her, you just... and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of loudness going on in this eating and drinking. But all that to tell you that.
Well, they use that in film a lot. Like when you're like a film of like, or like a scene where like there's a king eating. That's how they'll usually eat. It's almost like to convey power over the situation.
Yeah, it was savage eating.
Like I'm owning the room with my face sounds.
There was no politeness to his eating. Like he's just slurping it.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want some soup right now.
Well, this is 1880 soup. You probably wasn't that good.
I don't care. That and some chicken bones. You got yourself a stew going.
Yeah, there might be some varmint in there.
Is that hair? Yes, but from whom?
Yeah. All right, let me give you the rundown here. Our folks from the chamber, I think, are patiently waiting in the other room.
Well, patiently, some of them are giving us dirty looks. I would say mostly patiently.
I'm going to say they're giving you dirty looks. I can't see them. So ignorance is bliss.
Well, they're dirty looks by association.
But we'll have Gary and Andrea join us from the chamber here in just a bit. Give us an update. In the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to replay our interview with Robert Sherman from the Walker Aviation Museum. He joined us yesterday. Give us an update there, talking about Museum Day on September 14th, which is not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yes.
And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to go artsy. We're going to replay from back about 2-3 weeks ago. We had artist Greg Birch unveil some paintings and talk with Cindy Sloan Butts, the author, and some. So we'll get you a little art and culture in the 9 o'clock hour and get to play that interview for you. And then, of course, we'll do all the features, include newses, local national varieties, local sports, whatever else we can conjure up today.
Yes, sir.
But first, your weather. A kinder, gentler, might rain, but might not rain weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Little bit of moist air hanging around for a while. We will have mostly sunny skies today, 80 to 85 on the afternoon high, but an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm may pop up. And then tonight, clear and low 60s. We'll get scattered showers and afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, upper 80s for the afternoon high. A few more showers possible on Friday and a little cooler. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 67 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 84% with winds out of the south at 5 miles per hour. They say, I don't see so much here, but you could be seeing some patchy fog around the area to about 9 o'clock this morning. Partly cloudy early, gradually becoming sunny today. Highs of 85 expected with south winds 5 to 10. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 64 degrees. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. For you Thursday, could wake up to some patchy fog, but otherwise sunny. Gradually becoming full-on sunny. Partly sunny to sunny. That's what they're saying. 87 for a high tomorrow. Southeast winds 5 to 10. They're saying we could see some rain showers tomorrow night. A 40% chance at showers and thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy. Overnight low of 65 degrees. East winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, we're looking at a 20% chance at afternoon showers. Mostly sunny, 85 for a high. North winds at around 10 miles per hour. And looking at the weekend, Saturday, sunny, 85. And Sunday, sunny and 86. And then we'll be in the upper 80s to start the work week next week. All right, it is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to get you into your Roswell Livestock Report recap with Smiley Wooten. I know it's Wednesday. We had a Monday Labor Day holiday, so they did the livestock yesterday. So here's the results. And then we'll take a quick break. And then we'll have the folks from the chamber join us on the other side. Don't go away.
Good morning. This is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. 767 head of cattle sold on Tuesday, following Labor Day Monday, on a lower market with excellent buyer attendance compared to last week. Stocker calves sold 10 to 15 lower, feeder cattle 8 to 10 lower, packer cows and bulls $6 to $10 lower, 3 to 400 pound steers $320, $375, 3 to 400 pound heifers $280, $317. 4 to 500 pound steers $295, $320. 4 to 500 pound heifers $250, $280. 5 to 600 pound steers, $253, $295. 5 to 600 pound heifers, $225, $250. 6 700 pound steers, $230, $253. 6 700 pound heifers, $210, $225. 7 800 pound steers, $220, $230. 7 800 pound heifers, $185, $210. Packer cows, $129, $135. Canner and cutter cows, $120, $125. Packer bulls, $155, $163. Feeder bulls, $140, $147. Top half the cow-calf pairs, $2,000 to $2,400 per pair. Top half the bred cows, $1,600 to $1,875 per head. Expecting a better run of cattle for next Monday. We appreciate the business. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
The need to grow past our basic capabilities and experience the impossible will forever keep aviation technology evolving. Within the Aviation Maintenance Technology program at ENMU Roswell, students thrive knowing that the faculty and community are supporting their success. ENMU Roswell is dedicated to empowering students through hands-on skills training in a nurturing environment. To learn more, contact us today.
Picture this. You're behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor. You're effortlessly breaking ground, moving piles of rocks just by moving a lever, and enjoying the sun as you clear brush across your pasture. We could keep trying to put you in the moment, but to really understand what this feels like, you just have to get in the seat.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
A bedroom is a quiet escape where I go for peace and comfort. This is Melanie at Glenn's Furniture. I know how important the most private room in your home is for your life and the lives of your family. That's why we offer a selection of bedroom groups that make living easier and more comfortable. Modern designs, bold curves, and stylish fabrics elevate your bedroom space. You'll find your new set easy to sleep on and even easier to own. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Andrew Moore and Gary Thrine from the Roswell Chamber of Commerce back with us. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
How's life at the Chamber this morning? Weather's nice. Kind of nice not getting up. It's 100 degrees.
Oh, my gosh. Yesterday was beautiful. It was. I was walking around thinking, that's the kind of weather I'd like to have year-round. Yeah. But I think we appreciate it more when it's not 110, when it's, 80s, 90s, right, and you can walk around.
I believe it's an older term, but we'll call it Chamber of Commerce weather.
Oh, yes,
absolutely. That's definitely what we're getting right now.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Ask your parents or grandparents. You never heard that one before. It's kind of an older term, but
you are welcome.
But yeah, weather's good. Chamber is busy.
We are.
There's, like we said, we're getting into the fall here. Programs, of course, our meetings with our cities, counties, all that starting to get back together. Lunch and learns are now entering back after, since COVID, really. So the chamber's kind of getting busy again.
We are.
Lots of stuff going on. New members. It's all growing and going.
Yeah, we're excited. In fact, next week, the 12th of September, from 11:30 to 1 is our first official Lunch and Learn.
Awesome.
With Rosie Rubio and her gang at Sari Consulting.
Okay.
And they're going to discuss the personalities within the workplace and how some people get along and others don't get along and why. So it's $20 per person. If you're a non-member, if you're a member, it's $10 per person. And you can either RSVP online at roswellnm.org, or you can call the office, and either Gary or I would be more than happy to be able to get you registered for the event.
Absolutely. And obviously, this works in a great workplace and trying to get coworkers and things, but I ain't going to lie, I feel like that information translates in life, regardless of you're at home or, in your civic organization or at the job site. Those skill sets will serve you very well if you can understand how, personalities mesh and people think. And, You can get a lot of stuff done if you know how people think.
I would like to do those disc tests on those quote unquote Karens that you see like all over TikTok and Reels and stuff.
Yeah.
And see where they score.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
I mean,
so-
it's just, but that's, so,
Exactly.
So please sign up. Please get in
Yeah.
here, even for business or I just think it might be a valuable tool to have in your pocket. You never know how that's going to come in handy at some point, you know?
Correct.
Like if you're a human being and you plan on dealing with other human beings at some point in the rest of your life, this might be helpful to you.
Absolutely. I've taken a few of them over the years, and I know it's helped, for example, with my marriage between my husband and I, because we are completely different personalities. If anybody knows my husband and myself,
And that's half the battle sometimes, that you're right. That's marriage. It's, if you know how your spouse thinks, then you can kind of, okay, based on, they're going to take it this way, I need to react this way because I just know this is how they feel about these things. And so, yeah, absolutely. And it's the same thing at the workplace. If you know you got strong-willed people, you're not going to go in there and strong-will them. You've got to find another way to convince them to get what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. People that aren't motivated, you got to figure out a way to light that fire. And so this class will help you understand all that.
So if you haven't already signed up, please sign up. We've got space at the chamber for 45 people. If we exceed the 45 people mark, then we will move the location.
All right.
So prove me wrong and
That's
make me
right.
go find another room at the last minute. I would love for that to happen.
There you go. We have to go to the convention center.
Oh, darn. We have to go up the road.
But please RSVP.
Yes.
Like I said, you can go online and do it, or just call. Or if you're diddy bopping around the neighborhood, pop on
That's
in
right.
and say hi. Usually Gary's sitting right at the front there, so
He does.
So you'll probably run into Gary, and he'll be able to get you taken care of.
That's right. And if you're not a member and you come in to sign up for our Lunch and Learn, you're probably going to be a member by the time you leave because Gary does a great job of explaining everything that we're doing within the chamber. I think it's just about every day we're getting a new member. I get
awesome.
an email, new member, new member,
Awesome.
new member.
Well, and really, this is what the chamber does. It's a networking opportunity. It's connecting. It's connecting people to other people. It's getting information, and we at the chamber, we support the growth of this community. That's what we do. The businesses and obviously, providing small businesses opportunities to make their businesses, or give them tools to make them be a bigger business. Bigger businesses use us to connect to the local community and things like that. That's what the chamber does. When it comes to legislative session, when there are things that are impacting business, we're the ones that go to Santa Fe to talk to the legislators and say, hey, this is not helping our mom and pops here. This is helping our mom and pops here. That we're in those people's ears here in a couple months. And that's, I know it's only September, but January will be here like in a minute.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that's what the chamber does. And so becoming a member and being and so yes, more members means more power there, but at the same time, more members means we can help more members here because that, and that's really how it works. The bigger businesses do end up helping the smaller businesses through the chamber, through resources and things, and vice versa. The smaller businesses, if the bigger businesses are looking to attach to nonprofits or getting involved in the community, guess who they're turning to? Folks like the chamber and our smaller businesses and partners to achieve that goal. So that's what the chamber does, is make those connections and make all of that happen so our community has more resources to be better.
That's right. Absolutely.
And it's also just educating the merchants that aren't members and explaining to them the benefits of being able to be connected with other members.
Absolutely.
And it's a great avenue of approach if you want your business to be out in front of everybody and get the recognition that you want your business to have, because who wants to open a business and then just, sort of draw the shades at the front door and go, oh, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not really here. No, let's get you out in front of the public and let's get you some publicity and
you can't make money if people don't know about you.
Exactly.
Correct.
Let's get you connected with everybody else, because we've got a lot of stuff going on and coming up here in Roswell, And now is a great time to, if you're not already a member, to become a member.
That's right.
And if you are a member, to reach out to us so that we can connect you to these new members.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing, too. You know, whenever people look for services and things, that happens all the time. People walk in the chamber, hey, you guys have a roofer? Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some roofers in our chamber. We'd love to give you their numbers.
Especially right now, since we are getting the air races next year. We are getting all kinds of phone calls for, do you have a contractor? Do you know an electrician? Do you know of a real estate agent?
Why, yes, we do.
I'm like, yeah, as a matter, if you give me just a moment.
Yeah.
Let me.
And so we also promote our chamber partners
right.
when people come looking for those services.
Because that's who we go to first, is our members first. Now, if we don't have a member in a particular category, that is when we will use our best judgment, or we will Google it.
Sure.
But we go to our members first and foremost.
Absolutely.
And that is who we recognize and who we refer out.
And like you mentioned, that the Reno air races, that those 3 words are going to. I believe you're going to see the fabric of this community change when that's in place and up and running. Folks, I don't know if folks really realize this, but we could have our own balloon fiesta with that Roswell air races right here in Roswell.
Absolutely.
And dare I say it, this could be bigger than UFO Fest. Like, people think UFO Fest when we get international. I'm like, you don't get it. This Reno air races thing, there is hundreds of thousands of people. This thing's on ESPN.
Well, and
there's
it's
flight
10
simulator
days.
games. There's an international flight simulator game, you know, kind of like, you know, Pac-Man or whatever about this. I'm sorry, this is a big deal to be here.
It's a huge deal, and I've been told that they're working on a Roswell update.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's coming. I mean,
and how cool would that be?
Yeah, this is known big, and so the potential here to put, you know, yes, people know Roswell for aliens. I got a feeling people are going to start. This could shift it to people like, oh, that's where the air races are.
Correct.
You know, it could.
Well, we're already getting phone calls. We get, especially from RV clubs from around the country, that have said, for the last 15, 20 years, we've been RVing up to Reno for the races. We know that they're being moved now and relocated to Roswell. We need RV parks. So, you know, if you're an RV park and you're our member, guess who we're sending?
Yeah. Well, you're going to see a huge impact and growth here in Roswell over the next year. Here, you're going to see more businesses come in. You're going to see more people coming in. I predict a boom coming to this town.
I think so,
I think
too.
the Reno air races are going to be that stimulus to do that.
I think so.
And another opportunity to get notifications and everything is we just started working on a new map for Roswell.
Yes.
And the folks from Lunar Cow, if you're a member, will be reaching out to you to see if you want to advertise. There's only so many places on that map that we can get an advertisement in on the hard copy, but we also are going to have a digital map, a virtual map, so that way you can set up itineraries. And for those that join after the map is done, you'll still be able to participate in the digital map.
We can't go around and draw you back onto everybody's map.
Right. We'll still be able to
get in the digital.
We'll still be able to plug you into the digital virtual map, and so that way your business will have some notoriety.
And quite frankly, that's where the technology of these maps have kind of evolved, because let's face it, most people aren't walking into the building asking for a map anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It absolutely does happen. But the sheer numbers of those people have gone way down, and it's because of technology.
Correct.
The smartphone. You can Google, you can get everything right here. And so those maps have said, oh, okay, you want to do that? We got an app. You can go in, and now you got the map, but now it's interactive. And you can
absolutely. We'll be able to create an itinerary for all of our tourists that come in and say, hey, after I'm done with the UFO museum, these are the things that we want to do. We can pull up that virtual map.
Sure.
And anybody that is a member will automatically get a plot point on our virtual map. Now, the reason you want to be an advertiser on that virtual map is because now, instead of just being a plot point, then like your logo, your ad will actually pop up.
You'll be like a featured.
Yes.
And so
you can change that ad as often as you want for free. Lunar Cow will design your ad for free.
So if you got a special
the ad.
sale, or say maybe UFO Fest in town, you got a special thing for that, you can use that map as a way to promote that. And that's the beauty. Now, If you still want to walk into the building and say, give me that map thing, we still got you covered. You'll have none of those interactive things we talked about.
Correct.
You can yell at the paper all day. It will not do those things. But so we do have the best of both. So if you're kind of like, nope, I want paper map, I want to navigate around, we got you covered. But if you're like, I want to step into a little more modern technology, no worries. It flows with that too. So again, another option. So if you do have the Cosmic Cow, is that what they're called?
Lunar Cow.
I know something about a cow in space.
Yes.
Right.
They fit with us really well because they are. It's a UFO sucking up a cow.
Yeah. So if they do pop into your business, and so that is legitimate, and they are partnering with the chamber on this one.
And they will be calling on behalf of us. So if you do get that phone call, that email, that is legit. We are reaching out to do that. So advertise today.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you want the information, you can call Gary or I once again at the office, and we can give you the link. I'm hoping by the end of the day I can have the link for the rate card up on our website on that homepage as well.
Very good. Get in now, so when a year or two from now, when we start getting copious amounts of people from out of town here, you're set up and ready to roll.
Yeah.
Exactly. They'll be able to find you.
Absolutely. What else we want to put on people's radar?
What we got going on the calendar for September?
We closed out the month of August with several ribbon cuttings. We did the Tricore ribbon cutting over on West Country Club.
Okay.
And then we did Development Directive LLC down on South Union. They had erected some really nice homes.
Okay.
And when we did the ribbon cutting last week, one of the homes was already sold.
Okay.
But the other two, as to my knowledge, are still available. If they're not, reach out to your favorite local realtor and find out about those houses.
It sounds like they
down
probably
there.
got more building on the way. So,
Exactly. Then we had a ribbon cutting for the Cozy Crochet Loft at the chamber last week.
Nice.
And she is going to have a class, I believe, on the 14th of September.
Okay.
It's a Saturday. She's going to do a crochet class.
At the chamber?
At the chamber.
Awesome.
Yeah, Saturday morning on the 14th. And if you are thinking about learning how to crochet, then that would be a good place to show up.
I do not know how to crochet or anything, but my mom was an avid crocheter. I've told many stories about her crocheting on the radio. So
exactly,
it does hold a special little place in my
heart.
And we dedicated the new sign out in front of the Historical Society.
Yeah, beautiful sign.
Oh, it's beautiful.
They viewed it last Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, last Thursday evening. So that kind of closed out the month of August. The month of September, we are going to, so far on the schedule, and this is subject to change because we are adding members, and we've had members that have said, well, it was first in the beginning of the year, it was too cold to do a ribbon cutting, so we're going to wait till warmer weather. And now the ones that came in the summer, they were like,
right now,
it's too hot, so we're going to wait till cooler weather.
Right.
And so we have upcoming, we have a double ribbon cutting on the 9th scheduled for the Roswell Flute Ensemble.
Nice.
And also Crispin Mobile Service, because it is getting to be about that time of year to have your lawnmower serviced and ready to put away for winter.
Yeah. So they'll come to your house and get you all serviced up and ready to go. And
they are mobile, so yes, I would say that would be
an awesome idea, because I'm too lazy to put that thing in anything to go anywhere. And the military trained me with some mechanical skills, but if it's not a jet aircraft, I'm a little stupid. So I can fix a jet. I can't fix a lawnmower.
Exactly.
Well, it's because it's way simpler.
Right.
You need it to be a little more complex.
Well, they got a tech data. They really dummy it up in the military for you.
Well, I grew up in a family grocery business, and so the handyman and the mechanic and everybody came and shopped with us. So I didn't learn those skill sets.
Sure.
However, my amazing wife did learn all those skill sets.
And to be honest, businesses like this are more in demand because, yes, when we were kids, you fixed everything yourself, and nobody fixes anything themselves nowadays. So even if you have the desire, you probably don't have the skill set. And so businesses like this come in handy. It's like, no, I'm tired of every time a spark plug goes out, I buy a new lawnmower.
Right?
Exactly. And that doesn't fly at my house.
Yeah.
If my honey will figure out what is wrong with it and fix it. So
kind of like the TV repair guy. Like and that was a thing, and now
it was a huge thing.
I don't think anybody repairs a TV anymore. They're too
well.
There
is a TV repair shop out there on the south side of town.
Yeah,
and which I need to go talk to them because they're not members of the chamber.
Well,
so
I'd love to because I don't think people
go check that out.
Think to get a TV fixed anymore. They just throw it in the trash and get a new one. You know,
they do.
It's sad, but true.
Well, obviously somebody does because they're still in business.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe he fixes other things. Maybe there's a demand for some other things he works.
Exactly. And then there's going to be a ribbon cutting at the Civic Center on Friday the 13th at 10 a.m. for the Pecos Valley Quilters. And that I think that's going to be kind of
that weekend they're having their guild show that weekend there.
Right.
And that's also Museum Day the next day, too. It's a busy Saturday.
Yeah, next weekend is going to be a very busy weekend.
Right. Yeah. And then things slow down for a little bit till the end of the month. And on the 30th, we have the Fair Day Parade. So
nice.
We want to try and figure out how we're going to do a red coat ribbon cutting, or not ribbon cutting, but float in the parade as we always do, because I want to make sure the red coats get out there and get some recognition in the parade.
Part of the chamber, so we want to put them
I
on
agree.
display.
I agree.
And then I already know about the 1st of October. We do have a anniversary ribbon cutting for Frost Giant Games and Lanes down here on the corner of South Main and Walnut.
Is that their 1 year?
That's their 1 year anniversary.
Good
So they sent their request in, I believe, yesterday. So I wanted to go ahead and get them on the calendar.
And families, that's a great place to, because I know you probably hear the thing and think it's all video games and all that. No, they do board games and everything. They make their own board game. If you're looking for like games to take home for family game night, that's a great place to go visit. And because it's unique. I mean, it's not just, Sorry and Monopoly. These are games that they've created and they're family fun. Now, don't get me wrong; they still do some of the computer stuff and Dungeons and Dragons, and all that. It's all the above. But if you're not into that per se, but you're looking for family board games and stuff, they got you covered on all that stuff. You're looking for game night.
They're fantastic.
Friday night game night with the kids or something. They got all kinds of stuff like that.
They're a great group of guys, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. They do have Dungeons and Dragons, where they go and play Dungeons and Dragons. I think just about every night they've got somebody doing a game. So if you want to learn that, you can go down there. But
it's not just that.
But that's it's not. They've got card games. So if your kid's into Pokemon or Magic or any of those other card games, they've got that as well. And then, if you want to get Sorry or Monopoly, they've got that too. But they've got everything.
But he's the owner, creates games.
Yes, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's some of that there available for sale. So if you're looking for
you have something unique that nobody else is going to have.
Yeah, you know how every once in a while you go over and your friends have some game where you have to put something in your mouth to talk. Or they really have created stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just for people to do. So that's what it is. So go check them out. And of course, obviously here in a little bit, we'll be doing their 1 year celebration here.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah,
the 1st of October.
Yeah.
Or no, not Wednesday. It's a Tuesday. 1st of October will be a Tuesday because we have 30 days in September, not 31.
That's right.
Well, we'll make sure going back to the ribbon cutting on the 13th with the Quilters Guild. Make sure we don't have any open ladders. Let's not have any black cats hanging around the area. That is a Friday the 13th. I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to...
Don't prophesize.
Any unnecessary...
Well, maybe because it is Friday the 13th, we need everything. Yeah. Just bring it all.
Bring all of your... Like when people go to bingo and they got all them daubers with the trolls and the lucky, bring all those with you because it is the 13th, just to ward off the juju there, the evil mojo.
There was a Roseanne episode all about bingo once, and the gal had you couldn't touch a certain troll unless they called a certain number, and then
you want to see people's mental health?
Yeah, go to bingo.
Sports and activities.
Bingo.
Same thing as hockey goalies. Those people are straight up crazy, and you want to see why. Show them on display. They do all kinds of things like hitting things certain ways and talking to goalposts and nutty people, and bingo's the same way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So bring all your Lucky Charms and whatever you do just to save us.
But we have plenty of open time in there for all the members that have joined over the last several months that have been thinking about doing their ribbon cutting, just haven't decided when they want to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
By all means, just let me know if you don't have a Red Coat application, or not application, but if you don't have a Red Coat event request form, just let me know, gthrine@roswellnm.org.
Yeah. Or call the chamber.
Or call the chamber, and I'll be happy to get one over to you so we can get you in the limelight and get you some publicity. And
absolutely, yeah, these are great opportunities to showcase your business and showcase, and yes, we have the Red Coats have been around a long time, and the community knows when you see the Red Coats out, something's going on over there. They've been out there, and so let us bring that to your business. So.
Exactly.
Excellent. Is there anything else? Did we
and then just, of course, be on the lookout for our Save the Dates for Rise with Roswell.
That'll be coming up in
March. So we are just starting to gear up.
Locking down dates and everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're kind of guests and everything else. We're in the preliminary planning. So give us about a month here, and we'll probably have more cemented details.
And this is where I love Kay Whitefoot, is that she reminds me every year, is it a 30-day? Is it a 60-day session?
Because this time.
It does make a difference on when we do. And I thought I had the perfect date. I told Kay the date, and she goes, "Sweetheart."
Spring break, what it? Or something?
No, it's the last week of session.
Oh, okay.
She's like, "Honey,
yeah,
we're still in session." I'm like, "Oh, man."
And that's like the busiest time, that last week, especially in a 60-day. Because I'm telling you, if you've never seen they're going to fart around for a month.
They do.
What they'll do is they'll fart around for a month and not do anything. And then the last 30 days, they really buckle down. And that last week, it's
they go, "Oh no, we got to get it all done."
Whereas the 30-day, they're like, "Oh," and so they kind of buckle down from the jump.
Correct.
But that 60-day, they fart around in glad hand and bougie and do all that for 30 days before they say, "All right, let's sit down and make some laws."
But it's looking like for the moment that it's going to be March. Let me make sure I got
27th, I believe.
I think it is the 27th that we finally, March 27th. It's the last Thursday in March. So it's after spring break.
Excellent. Which was the other thing. We're like, no, because we know.
Nobody shows up on spring break because I know I don't want to show up.
People beat cheeks when the spring break hits. So.
As they should. As they should.
So we don't want to do it for us.
Yes.
So, but we'll have more on that as we
Correct. So just be looking, check our website, check our social media. And, of course, you can always call Gary or I, 575-623-5695.
Yep.
Come down see us at 131 West 2nd or roswellnm.org.
Yep, that's our website. Go there. And don't forget Facebook as well.
Correct. Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. That's our one. We wear our nice shirt. We have our T-shirt on Facebook.
And your nice shirt.
Button up on.
Or your or you just throw that vest on, blazer on for your LinkedIn photo.
Kind of like when you go to Disney World, they put you in old-timey stuff. We just have a coat you throw on real quick. Oh, now you're Abe Lincoln. Here you go.
That's right. Exactly. If only it was that easy.
That's right. Well, thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll see y'all next time.
All right.
All right. It is 7:51. Let's pause for news, your Kim Commando update, weather, and we'll also get to your Chaves County sports update brought to you by DSI here in just a bit. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Now, your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. The city of Roswell having some second thoughts after reconsideration by the mayor, mayor pro tem, and city manager of the new Roswell water rate system. Mayor Tim Jennings says he will place an item on the September 12th City Council agenda to repeal and replace the recently adopted water rates ordinance. The action, expected to be considered by city councilors at the upcoming regular council meeting, will include repealing the tier structure rate system that was recently enacted and replace it with a substitute ordinance that will include the more familiar flat rates. After hearing from citizens and discussing the matter further, city officials decided the tier structure system that provided for differing rate tiers based on customers' water usage was, quote, overly aggressive. New Mexico's Public Education Secretary Arsenio Romero has resigned. Earlier this month, New Mexico State University officials announced that Romero was one of 5 finalists for the job of president of their university. According to a report by the Santa Fe New Mexican, Michael Coleman, a spokesperson for the governor's office, said the governor gave Romero a choice to either resign and continue pursuing the NMSU position or stay on the job and withdraw his candidacy at NMSU. The governor said she believed it was critical the person filling the public education department's top job be fully committed to the job. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
When you go grocery shopping, it's not just your dinner getting scanned at the checkout. You are too. I'm Kim Commando for Total AV, the award-winning antivirus software. It's just $19 a year right now at protectwithkim.com. Every time you're at the grocery store, you're also paying with your data. Your loyalty card tracks every purchase, preference, and visit. Your store's mobile app goes even further. Using your phone's location tracking, retailers know exactly when you're inside their store, creating coincidental coupons tailored to your movements. Then there's AI-powered store cameras. They analyze your shopping habits, turning your behavior into valuable data. So how can you stop this? Start by using cash without linking it to any loyalty programs. This keeps your purchases anonymous. Turn off location tracking on your phone, or better yet, leave it in the car when you shop. And if you do want to use a loyalty program, use a burner phone number or an email address that's not tied to you. Enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 right now at winfromkim.com. Do you need statistics to finally convince you to bite the bullet and get good antivirus software? Well, here's the cold, hard truth. Ransomware makes up 68% of all cyber attacks. 72% of businesses were attacked by ransomware last year. Phishing scams are the most reported cybercrime in the United States. And last but not least, AI-powered cybercrimes are rumored to make up 85% of these scams. When you're not using antivirus software, you're at major risk, period. Don't wait for the worst to happen. Protect yourself now. My pick for antivirus security software is the award-winning Total AV. Go to protectwithkim.com right now for protection that's just $19 a year. You get antivirus protection up to 5 devices. Go to protectwithkim.com before it's too late. You don't need to be a victim. Go to protectwithkim.com. You'll get great antivirus software at 85% off. That's protectwithkim.com. Protectwithkim.com.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Little bit of moist air hanging around for a while. We will have mostly sunny skies today, 80 to 85 on the afternoon high, but an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm may pop up. And then tonight, clear and low 60s. We'll get scattered showers and afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, upper 80s for the afternoon high. A few more showers possible on Friday and a little cooler. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Running a business is tough. Operational demands change fast, and keeping up can feel impossible. That's where DSI comes in. We've been helping local businesses thrive for over 25 years. You might know us for printer products, but we're your one-stop shop for cutting-edge office technology. From managed IT to video security, audio-visual technology, and more, DSI has everything you need. We're flexible, local, and have the resources of a national corporation. Be more productive. Make more money. DSI, the heartbeat of business. Visit DSINM.com.
It's time for the Chaffetz County Sports Report. Let's catch you up on some boys soccer. Last night, it was the rivalry game between Roswell and Goddard, and it was a close one, too. Roswell wins by a score of 2-1 over the Rockets. Roswell's now 5-2 on the season. Goddard still 1-6 on the season. Goddard did just get its first victory of the season back on Saturday, beating Los Lunas by a score of 4-0 after losing Friday to Los Alamos and Artesia. That was tournament play. And then Roswell, though, also in a tournament down in Las Cruces, lost to Gadsden to start things off on Friday by a 2-1 count, and then defeated Deming Saturday 2-1, and then knocked off Las Cruces 3-0. Julio Vasquez, Diego Guillen, Axel Sanchez all got the goals. NMMI lost last night at Clovis 5-0. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell Talk FM 106.5.
Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Vice President Kamala Harris plans to propose a tenfold increase in federal tax incentives for small business startups, hoping to help spur a record in new small business applications over her 4-year term should she win the presidency in November. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday charged 6 credit rating agencies with significant record-keeping failures. The SEC said the agencies acknowledged that their conduct violated record-keeping provisions of federal securities laws and agreed to pay combined civil penalties of more than $49 million. Former Volkswagen chief executive Martin Winterkorn appeared in court on Tuesday on fraud charges over the so-called Dieselgate scandal, 9 years after the German carmaker was found to have rigged emissions tests. Rite Aid will operate as a private company after it successfully completed its financial restructuring and emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And it is 7:58. Stay tuned next hour. Here about 8:15 or so, we're going to replay our interview we had with Robert Sherman from the Walker Aviation Museum, just getting us update what's going on there. Of course, also talking about Museum Day, which is the 14th next Saturday, where 7 museums in town, including the Walker Aviation Museum, would be participating in that. So we do touch on that interview there. So we'll talk about that next hour. Matter of fact, the passports. See this right here if you're watching the video. Hopefully you got one in the mail. If you did not, you can visit any of the 7 museums to pick one up. And this is what you'll carry around with you on the 14th. And get all of your passport stamped there on the back, and you turn it in, and you can win some awesome prizes, including a gift basket worth like hundreds of dollars with stuff. It's pretty cool. So anyway, we talk a little bit more about that with Robert next hour. And, of course, other things happening around Walker Aviation Museum. Hey, something else I want to put on your radar. I got time real quick. This is not till October, but if you are a collector of books, the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico will be doing their historic book fair Saturday, October 12th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Historical Society's archive facility, which is right next to the J.P. White home there, 208 North Lee Street. Basically what it is, rare out-of-print books that we have extras of. People make donations and stuff, and so we'll get 4 or 5 copies of a rare out-of-print book. We keep the good one, and then about once a year we'll offer these up as an auction, or not auction, but people can buy them, and all the money goes back to the Historical Society. But put it on your calendars, October 12th will be that next one here. All right, it's 8 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side of news. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Another long night in Ukraine. Russian airstrikes hitting across the country. At least 7 people killed, more than 20 hurt in Lviv. The BBC's Nick Beak in central Ukraine.
Another air raid siren here this morning sent rescue teams running for cover. Soldiers manning the entrance to this military academy also took shelter, with the fear the site may be targeted again. The latest Russian attacks overnight brought more death and destruction, notably in the city of Lviv, on the edge of the EU and also on the border of the NATO alliance. President Zelensky is imploring to do more to help defend his country. Video from Lviv showed the moment of the strike, a huge explosion in a residential area and debris raining down on people's homes.
Federal prosecutors have filed charges against the senior leadership of Hamas, this stemming from the October 7th terror attack inside Israel. That stubborn heat wave, not ready to let go of the Southwest. Triple-digit temperatures in Phoenix for 100 days running.
That's long since shattered the record of 76 days in a row set back in 1993. The temperature hit 102 in Phoenix on May 27th and has made it to triple digits every day since. It doesn't look like a break is coming anytime soon. Mark O'Malley with the National Weather Service in Phoenix explains what caused this persistent heat.
We had an area of high pressure that was fairly strong that set up over the region this year, and it just hung over the region The days that we did have thunderstorms, they weren't particularly widespread.
Unseasonably high September temperatures are expected this week across the western United States. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Former President Trump has lost another bid to have his New York criminal case transferred from state to federal court. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 11 points, NASDAQ down 136. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Mexico's Congress expected to approve a series of controversial judicial reforms. Under the plan, 7,000 judges would be elected by popular vote.
It is significant, and I think symbolically it's significant as well. It's saying, from the López Obrador side, this is the will of the people because the judicial system isn't fit for purpose, while those who actually work in the judicial system saying we don't want this undermines democracy, and it's going to basically politicize the judiciary and make it another branch of the executive.
The BBC's Will Grant. Another boat carrying several dozen people appears to be making another attempt to cross the English Channel, seemingly to Britain from northern France. It's just a day after 12 migrants died. Pope Francis urging Indonesia to live up to its promise of harmony in diversity and fight religious intolerance. Francis had a busy first full day in Indonesia, met with the country's president and other high-ranking government officials. News and analysis at townhall.com. A lost and found treasure resting amid the debris of what is arguably the world's most famous shipwreck.
The location of a bronze statue not seen in decades is among the discoveries made by the company that owns the salvage rights to the Titanic during its first expedition to the site in years. The Georgia-based company that owns the legal rights to salvage the Titanic wreck has completed its first trip since 2010 and released the first images from the trip on Monday. Keith Peters reporting.
The shooting in broad daylight of San Francisco 49ers rookie receiver Ricky Pearsall during an attempted robbery in an upscale shopping district, once again putting San Francisco's safety in the national spotlight. This time it comes just weeks before voters in San Francisco will be choosing a new mayor. A teenager is charged with attempted murder in the shooting of Pearsall, is expected to recover after being shot in the chest. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
Los Dos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters Right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yes.
Hope your middle of the week's going well.
Quite nicely.
Even if it doesn't quite feel like the middle of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of off kilter from the Labor Day holiday.
Yep.
It is. Tomorrow's Thursday, and then you're thinking about weekend activities after that.
Yeah. Of course, it's funny. We celebrate labor by not laboring.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rest of the week, we labor post-celebrating the labor that we celebrated by not laboring.
Yes.
It really makes not a lot of sense. Like, if you're celebrating somebody's birthday, you're going to celebrate with them. You're celebrating labor. Shouldn't we be, like, picking up a chisel or something?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we need to, like, do some road construction.
I don't know. Maybe we just go the other. We just stop working, except for Labor Day.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
I'm
that day,
in.
folks. We all got to work. That's right. Of course, nothing would get done.
No, yeah, of course.
But because somebody's got to make the donuts, so to
That's
speak.
right.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing that I got into a conversation with somebody yesterday,
Man.
and they were like, well, if I had because we got into the conversation about an extra day off and which day would you take?
Yeah.
And they said, well, if we were given a national day off, they would want it to be Monday so they can get their running around and errands done while the businesses, utilities, companies like that are still open for business hours.
Oh, wait.
But then we started thinking, well, then how's that going to work? Because then they have to go to work so that we don't get to.
There's the rub.
Yep. Exactly. That's why you can't get anything done on Labor Day because everybody's closed.
And there's the rub.
It's truly ironic. It's like, no. I want to be off. I don't want you to be off.
Right. yeah. It's all in our head, in our world. Until oh, yeah, there's other people involved.
That's right.
That's right. So happy. So guess what? You're at work today.
That's right.
All being said, you're at work today.
But
You're
hey,
off Monday.
You do you.
Yeah.
You enjoy yourself a little bit today.
I to be honest, the ones that get me is when everyone makes these national whatever holidays.
Oh yeah, that's my bread and butter
holiday.
over on the other station.
I know, but I'm like, because literally every day is something.
Mm-hmm.
If you dig on the internet, I'm sure you could dig. It's National Toilet Paper Day. Awesome.
Yep. Yesterday was International Bacon Day.
Yeah. Every day something.
Mm-hmm.
It's International Smelling Salts Day. All right.
Woo!
I mean, that's kind of what.
Give it up for waking up.
you know, and of course now we're getting into October, which that's a good one. Now that one I'm fine with. Reminding people to get screenings and say, all right, we're gonna pink ribbon it up and say this is a good time to go get your screenings done.
Oh yeah, awareness months. That's different.
Those fine, but tell me, like, to be honest, I feel like there's at least 7 days a year that it's like National Ice Cream Day. I'm like, really? How many days is it really? Because I feel like I've been told more than once in a year that it's National Pancake Day or Ice Cream Day,
and that's the beauty of it
day.
is it's different. Like, okay, for example, for pizza, there is National Pizza Day, and there's National Pepperoni Pizza Day, and there's National Cheese Pizza Day.
And this is where it's a problem.
Yeah,
because now, this is National Hamburger, if you like, mayonnaise, ketchup, lettuce, onions, and pickles day.
Today is Happy National Plain Cheeseburger Day.
I was so in, but they didn't have green chili. I got to wait till March 15th when it's green chili, onions, pickles, and relish.
Darn it. When's International Chow Chow Day? I'm looking forward to having a tasty hot dog.
It's like, all right, where are we going to, I mean, does somebody consult like the other days? I would like a day to honor plug-in air fresheners. Is that available?
I'll humor you with the whole, like, I don't appreciate the National Left-Handers Day or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those days where I can get, like, a free taco, I'm all down for it. Like National Taco Day. You go to Taco Bell, they'll give you a free taco. Cool.
Veterans Day.
Yeah, Veterans, exactly. Where you get a little something for it,
Yeah. Now, if we do celebrate the left-handed person with giving us, I don't know, you go to, like, arts and crafts stores and they're passing out left-handed scissors all day. Oh, there's something, I don't know. All right, I'm down with that.
Have you ever used a specifically left-handed product?
Left-handed scissors.
Have you really?
I've used them, but it's weird.
I just don't even know where one would get those. Because I use regular scissors with my left.
Them at school, to be honest.
But I mean,
I've never bought a pair.
And that's the thing about them. Can't you just flip them over and they work the same way?
I don't think so.
That's odd.
Like I cannot cut with left-handed scissors in my right hand.
Well, I use right-handed scissors in my left hand, and I have no problem.
See, I use right-handed scissors as a right-handed person. I cut with my right hand.
Ah, see, that's your problem.
Yeah, I cut because I was trained that way.
I ought to check in the chat. As long as we keep National Ice Cream Day, nobody gets hurt. Antonio, National Double Pepperoni Pizza Day. I'm all for it. But yeah, that's the thing is I've used.
How about National Pepperoni with the cupping pepperoni?
Right.
That kind.
Yeah. Old world pepperoni
Yeah,
day.
that guy.
I've used right-handed products or products that were intended to be used right-handed just in my left hand, and they work fine.
Well, my wife and I are both left-handed, and both of us do not own left-handed scissors. It's all right-handed scissors, and we use them as right-handed people.
I don't even know outside of the internet where you would go to get left-handed products. Like that was always the joke on The Simpsons is Ned opens the Leftorium.
I feel like if you go into Hobby Lobby or something, you can buy a pair of left-handed scissors.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, maybe not at Walmart, but I'm thinking a craft store, a store that does more of that stuff.
Right.
You will find left-handed scissors.
But like you never hear about left-handed handguns.
Yeah.
You know?
See, and the real problem for lefties is not that kind of stuff. We just live in a world that's not set up for us. Like for instance, now this is changing too because technology's changing. But like in the dawn of the slide your card into the reader, and then you have to sign your name. Those pens are always set up for right-handed people. They're
attached up here at this corner.
We got to play the cord wraparound goof game to get to sign because it's not set up.
I have
for left-handed
literally on a digital interface never signed my actual name because I can't.
Right.
There's no it's going to be it's just a scribble, and if I get that back, I'm like, yeah, that was me.
That is the left-hander's cross to bear. Is that one.
That if you were of school age, then you'll remember
the ink?
The ink hand, the hand that was covered in ink, but also spiral arm.
Yeah.
If you ever written in a spiral notebook, you get spiral arm.
Yep.
Old Northpaws out there never experienced the true joy.
Boarding equipment's usually a bit trickier for us. And because of because I grew up playing sports and stuff, and because I think I was coached by people that weren't left-handed.
Right.
There's so many things that I flip-flop on. Like baseball, I'm very left-handed.
Sure.
Left-handed batting, running, catching, throwing, everything I do as a left-handed person. But when I get into the hockey world, I do things right-handed. I play goaltender completely left-handed.
And I think a lot of that's because you were trained that way.
Yeah,
for example, when I throw a ball, I always throw with my right. I'm not good at throwing with my left hand. Same thing with batting.
See,
I bat right.
That would be very hard for you to play the field because in essence you catch as a lefty.
I've been playing the field for like 4 years now.
I know, but if you play baseball, if you throw with your right, you actually catch with your right as a lefty. So you'd have to catch it, take the glove off, throw it, and then put the glove back.
I live my life like what's that guy's name? Was it Cy Young? No,
Cy Robertson.
There was a baseball player who was like famously had no hand or like arm.
Oh, there was Abbott, the pitcher.
Yeah,
he was a one-arm pitcher.
Jim Abbott.
Yeah, Jim Abbott.
But no, the guy who like he would wear the glove on his nubbin.
Yeah,
and he'd catch the ball, pop it up, and then like take the glove off, and then it was like watching juggling.
Yeah, which works as a pitcher, but if you're an outfielder, that will not work because you can't just time is of the essence.
Pete Gray. Really? No,
there's an Abbott that's a one-arm pitcher in the 90s. Sure.
Yeah, Pete Gray was
I don't remember his first
St.
name.
Louis Browns baseball player with one arm.
Okay. No, Abbott was the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was in the 90s.
Yeah. I
don't remember his first name, but his last name was Abbott.
Was it Jim? I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I'm like, if that dude can do it. And that's the other thing is whenever you read like the whole left-handed people thing, it's like I do plenty of things with my right hand. It's literally just writing. I'm a 4-year-old with this hand when it comes to writing, you know?
I eat lefty, but I use scissors as a right-handed. When I play hockey, goalie lefty, but if I play out in the field, right-handed. I play as a right-handed person.
I eat left-handed too. I didn't think about that. But I could, if necessary, hold a fork with my right hand. It's not a problem.
Computer mouse, right-handed.
Matter of fact.
I do not use a computer mouse as a lefty.
It's very weird not having a pen over here. Yes, let me have a pen. I want to see. I just want to see how much of a struggle it is to hold it. Yeah, see, I could hold it normally in my right hand. It just doesn't feel right.
Yep.
Over here, that's just natural.
Yeah.
Over here, I have to like place it in.
Yeah, you got
into the
to
hand.
subconsciously think on how to put it there.
Right.
Whereas, it just kind of.
That was off-putting. I don't like having a pen over here. It just doesn't feel right.
I know how you do it. I carry this thing almost the whole show. This using my hand. Do I write? No.
But here's the thing. If you've ever watched somebody, and I'm a left-handed person, and if you ever, as a left-handed person, watch somebody write left-handed, it still looks wrong.
Yeah.
Like it looks more right to me for somebody to use their right hand writing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense here. It makes
Actually, no, I'm right-handed. I just usually use my foot.
Well, see, and my dad had a theory about this. His theory was because when we learned, like when he helped teach us like to write and stuff, he's right-handed. So we'd see his right hand and that corresponded with our left. Because both me and my sister are left-handed. My brother's right. However, both my kids, it's split straight down the middle. Hunter just naturally righted up. Rhiannon, natural lefty.
Yeah. And growing up, my mom was the only righty. Dad was lefty. My brother's lefty. I'm lefty. Married a lefty. So both of us are lefties in the house.
For as uncommon as left-handers are, they sure seem to come up a lot.
I'm surrounded by many of them.
Maybe there's just like pockets of them.
I think we just gravitate to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just end up together somehow in life. I don't know. I better get the hour going.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're going to be talking about nonsense for 30 minutes. We're going to play our interview we had with Robert Sherman from the Walker Aviation Museum. Joined us yesterday talking about Museum Day and other things happening with Walker. So we'll play that here in just a bit. But foist your weather, where some say rain, some say no. Cooler weather is to and fro.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Little bit of moist air hanging around for a while. We will have mostly sunny skies today, 80 to 85 on the afternoon high, but an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm may pop up. And then tonight, clear and low 60s. We'll get scattered showers and afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, upper 80s for the afternoon high. A few more showers possible on Friday and a little cooler. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, let me refresh. I did not refresh, so let me refresh to freshen that up. There we go. Currently 69 degrees. It says overcast. I don't see overcast, but maybe there is somewhere you're at. Humidity is at 78%. Winds out of the south at 6 miles per hour. Could see some fog lingering around this morning for another hour or so for some folks here, but otherwise partly cloudy. Early, gradually becoming full-on sunny with a high of 85 today. South winds 5 to 10. I know our weather forecast kind of says no talk of rain, but you might see rain. So don't be surprised if one pops up. Partly cloudy tonight. Overnight low of 64 degrees. South winds 5 to 10. For you Thursday, kind of a mirror of today. More chance we could wake up to some fog. Otherwise, partly cloudy. Early, gradually becoming sunny. 87 for high tomorrow with southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, we are looking at a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy, 65 for an overnight low with east winds at around 5 miles per hour, 20% chance of showers for Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 85, north winds at around 10 miles per hour. Friday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 61, so I think we'll be good for football there. And then looking at the weekend, sunny and 85 for your Saturday, sunny and 86 for Sunday. All right, it is 20 minutes after 8. We're going to take a 2.5-minute break, then play our interview with Robert Sherman from the Walker Aviation Museum. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Hey Roswell, summer's winding down, but the deals are still hot during the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at the all-new Roswell Ford. Right now, get crazy low prices on all-new Fords and quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. And top dollar for your trade. Stuck in your loan or lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. So you can drive a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle for a lot less. For a limited time, get 0% APR and $3,400 in bonus cash on 2024 F-150 trucks. And make no payments for 90 days. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Roswell Ford has partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford with new management and a whole new attitude. 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 36 months is $27.78 per thousand. Subject to lender approval through Ford credit. Offers not combined.
Are bugs eating your garden and mosquitoes chasing you back in the house? Ask yourself, what would Jim Gill do?
This is John from Roswell Seed. You know, we've been battling bugs in Roswell since 1898. And if Jim was here, he'd draw on his immense knowledge and send you home with the right stuff. Chase the bugs out of your garden and the mosquitoes out of your yard.
Don't give the bugs a head start. Head for Roswell Seed Company and find out, what would Jim Gill do?
Hey, Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing. Trustmark is one of the only roofing companies that's also a licensed commercial and residential general contractor.
Wow.
I know, who cares, right? Well, you should care. You see, a licensed roofer can install a new roof on your home, but really can't handle structural problems underneath. So if your roof needs reframing or your chimney needs a water diverting cricket, you may need to call a licensed general contractor. And coordinating two companies for your roofing job can get costly and messy fast. As a licensed roofer and general contractor, Trustmark can install a stunning new roof on your home and handle structural issues. This saves you time, money, hassle, and even makes it easier to file an insurance claim. Call today for your 20% off coupon for our spring roof and gutter maintenance service. 575-755-ROOF or visit us at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The catfish has over 27,000 taste buds. Do you think they prefer fried or blackened? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, back from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman with us. Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Morning. I walked outside and I thought maybe I should go back and get a jacket.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like, hey, it's chilly out.
This is different, yeah. Even last night, walking my dogs about 10 o'clock, it was like a little chilly.
Yeah.
But not that bad.
A crispness. It's nice. Nice change of pace.
Good.
But, of course, for folks not familiar, Robert or someone from the Walker Aviation Museum joins us once a month here, and we give folks an update on what's happening at Walker Aviation Museum. And if you're not familiar, the museum is located inside the Roswell Air Center in the air terminal there. And the museum has a focus on, the base that was down at the south end of town, Roswell Army Airfield, and later Walker Air Force Base. And so the museum covers the history of that, the people and stuff. And then also the Cold War era, this part of the country, Roswell in particular, and the early years of the Cold War and the ICBMs, those first generation ICBM missiles. Roswell was home base for a lot of those during that time. So,
sure was.
So the museum focuses on the history of that and the history of that, and plus with for a modern day, the mission of the museum is to promote STEM related careers and careers in the aviation and aircraft industry and things like that. Kids can, and adults for that matter, can do anything from learn more about what's available in the industry to start the first steps and continue your steps to becoming a pilot at some point. You could do all that through programs through the Walker Aviation Museum. That's all available to you. So that's what we do at the museum.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we well, there are several things I was going to talk about today. We are getting ready for the Museum Day coming up on Saturday, September 14th from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Yes.
And we've ordered, 4 or 5 little books on paper airplanes. So I'm going to get some stuff so kids can come by and make some paper airplanes.
So a little bit of engineering there, design the perfect airplane.
And I'll go into some details of what we can do and what we can't do during this
and for folks not
event.
familiar, what's happening on September 14th is it's Roswell's, I guess we'll call it second annual because they did this last year, Museum Day.
Second annual.
Right. Yes, there's seven, I guess you could say 7 major museums in the city of Roswell have all partnered up to basically offer what's called a passport program, and they would love to have folks go to all 7 different museums on that Saturday. Fill out your passport, which if you're watching on the video, you can see you got them in the mail. You can get them at all 7 of the museums right now and get those filled out, and then you can win prizes and all that stuff. But we really want you to go out and check out all these museums. Now, Walker Aviation Museum is one of those 7 museums participating, along with the Roswell Museum and Art Center, the McBride Museum on the campus of New Mexico Military Institute, the International UFO Museum, the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico, the Anderson Museum of Contemporary Art, and the Miniatures and Curiosities Museum as well. along with Walker Aviation Museum. Those are the 7 museums that will be participating on September 14th. And so each museum will have special different things, activities and stuff going on, and including Walker Aviation Museum.
Did you mention NIMI?
Yes, McBride Museum is also on there too.
Yeah,
NMI,
right.
Yeah.
And only with this card, if you have this card, and it's like a passport, you can get in free to the UFO Museum. You can't,
yes.
So you have to have this little
now,
passport.
Now, here's the thing. Now, before you go to the UFO Museum, you got to already have the passport.
Right.
Because they're one of the museums that charge, and so they want to let locals who have the passport in for free, but it's a Saturday. They get terrorists.
You're not going to have a stack of these passports and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go do this
out
so I
of
can get in free and then leave."
They want them to pay so they can. But this is for locals. So please get your passport. If you hopefully you got in the mail and you can set it and you didn't throw it away, you got it. But if you did, you can visit any of the 7 museums prior to the date, prior to September 14th, and get a copy of it. Like get a passport here. It's this yellow postcard that Robert and I are holding here, and then on the back has got the different places you check in at. And now the UFO Museum will be doing check-ins and all that, and you get in for free, but they're not going to be giving out these on Saturday.
Right.
So just be note of that. You can go to the other museums and get them, though, because they don't charge.
Right. So kind of what that's going to entail is like you come to, say, the Walker Museum. And when you come, we'll have a little ticket. And other people may have something else, but you put your name and your phone number and maybe your address. And then when you get through and get ready to leave, you put that into a little jar in each individual museum.
Yep.
And then at the end of that, around 5 o'clock, end of the day, we will reach in there and pull out a ticket, and that person will have won the Walker Aviation Museum SAG bag.
Could do.
Which consists of stuff that we gave all the other 6 museums.
Okay.
Plus what they gave us.
Okay.
So everybody gives it out to all 7, so you'll get a little collection of little, things that represent all 7 museums in that SAG bag.
And usually some value to
and you
them.
win that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like ours was worth, I don't know, about $100.
Yeah, each have a value to it, and so you enter by going around, getting your passports filled out, and then dropping your name into those, like I said, entries at each of the different museums to get registered. And so that's kind of the carrot we're dangling to get people to come out to the museums. But the real reward is seeing the coolness that each of these museums possess.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, if you've never spent time checking out all the cool stuff going on in the Walker Aviation Museum, then I invite you to make the 14th your first day to go do that and check it out.
So if you arrive, say, at our museum and you've already had everyone stamp all of these, they have a particular stamp each museum is going to use, then we would go ahead and tear off this bottom.
And then keep it for the drawing.
Yeah, we keep it. Only if you've already done all the rest of them.
Sure. So wherever your last stop is, that's where you'll get
then
that.
Then come 5 o'clock, all 7 museums, except for the main art, which one? Historical Roswell Museum.
Okay.
We'll take the little receipts here, the names and stuff, over to the Roswell Museum, and we'll have a drawing. And each museum needed to donate about $100 worth of stuff.
Okay.
Or just give them some cash.
Gotcha.
So what the winner of these passports will win equivalents of about $700.
Yeah, it's a pretty substantial prize. But put it this way. If you win it, I got a feeling you're not paying for a meal in Roswell for a while because there's going to be enough gift cards and meals and things in there.
That's right.
You're eating free for a while.
That's absolutely true.
But it is really cool. And I invite you to please get your families together and participate. Go to each 7 of these museums. I guarantee there's going to be something that each member of your family at one of the 7 is going to just get stuck in and want to spend more and more time checking out. And every single one of these museums is so cool. They've got so much different stuff.
Oh, they do.
Obviously, with Robert here and Walker, there's so many cool history things. And it's, to be honest, the Walker Aviation Museum is such more a history of Roswell than it, I mean, yes, we talked about the planes, the military, and the missions it served, and all the important things that came out of that base. But that base is really the people of the base as much as, the baseball team's life on the base back in the, 50s, 60s, and, 40s. And
if you're
like
a teacher or a student at Goddard High School, when you go to school, it's a spinoff from the Cold War, because right after the Cuban Missile Crisis, that was really critical, because at that time we had B-52s on alert with atomic weapons. We were surrounded by Atlas missiles on alert, and so Roswell was a key target. And so when a couple years or a year later, when they decided they're going to build a second major high school in Roswell, then they built all the classrooms underground.
The bomb shelter. Why do you think Goddard looks the way it looks?
They even built decontamination showers in there that you never see if you go there, but you can find them.
I went to a high school that was built in the same era.
Yeah.
My high school back in Maryland, Thomas, is very much like Goddard. It has the underground.
Yeah.
Like there was a whole part of that school that's underground. And
but that wouldn't have been built underground if it wasn't.
Yeah.
If Roswell, say, didn't have a base here or didn't have missiles.
I think a lot of high schools built in the 60s around that time were kind of shared that same blueprint, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. I went to high school very similar to Goddard.
I think there's an elementary school in Artesia that's underground, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeso, or is that the name of it? Don't forget. But that one was actually in like National Geographic. It was in a major
was it really?
Publication. They were talking about the history of that school. So, yeah.
Before I go much further, I'm going to divert a little bit, just for a second. Everybody can mark their calendars coming up. Not everybody, but we have about 48 civic organizations and service organizations that we identified. And the Kiwanis Club is sponsoring, and with some help from other folks, but a get-together on Thursday night, the 10th of October, at the Civic Center. There's going to be a supper, dessert, and a dance with a disc jockey. So maybe meeting around 6 and terminating around 9:30, whatever. But we've been going to be sending out some emails to everybody and trying to get the information so that they can come and let us know, what the current name of the organization, if required, who the current president is, and name 3 of your most important charities or accomplishments or activities during the last 12 months, and the best, just stuff like that. So we're getting you ready so you can get your folks there, and just a thing for Roswell.
Excellent. Yeah, so Kiwanis Club's putting that together. So reach out to our Roswell Kiwanis here.
But we're trying to include all the 48 different service organizations, civic clubs, all kinds of stuff like that.
There's so many great organizations in town that do great things for our community, and we want to, get them together and even network a little bit.
Just kind of a matter of networking.
Yeah.
We're kind of all doing the similar things, and
if you got 10 people doing the same thing, maybe we can triage it to do it so we get more ground covered here a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, and so this is a networking opportunity here to be for your civic organizations, really. Yeah, I like it.
We already covered some of this. Unfortunately, in the past, they think, let's go to the Walker Museum because they got 2 flight simulators. Well, that is kind of it's a little more complicated than that. We need to have people sign up and come as a group, because each time you get a student on to a flight simulator, you actually need to give them about a 10-minute orientation, because this is a pretty complex Lockheed software flight simulators.
You can't just jump in an airplane and start flying around in it. It's no different in a simulator. You got to learn the ropes.
And also, like the yoke, you can't jerk it back and forth. You're supposed to operate it real smoothly.
Sure.
And a bunch of other different rules that in the past we kind of let kids get on there, and next thing you know, they were not working. We had to contact Connecticut, and they had to come online. And
they were abusing a little bit.
And try to. All you do is just push 1 or 2 little buttons, and it reprograms the stuff. So it's kind of probably more complex than it needs to be, but that's because
kids come in thinking it's an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah,
and you're like,
not.
It's a little bit different.
And we kind of regret in a way that maybe we should just got one that was very simple that kids could just come in and play and leave. But this one will fly 50 different aircraft, land at any major airport in the world. So instead of flying a little Cessna like it's set up now, you could pick a 637 MAX or whatever aircraft and land in Istanbul, Turkey at night in the rain. And then you get the 637 MAX cockpit layout, and you get the airfield at Istanbul, Turkey, and you get the darkness, or you get the rain splattering on the windshield. And
it really simulates.
so it's a pretty complex
this isn't
device.
a toy. It is a training tool.
Yeah,
is
actually,
what
it can be used for pilots.
People actually learn how to do their craft
Yeah.
on this machine.
So we regret that, but we'll definitely maybe have someone there. But I think Bob Donnell will be there to demonstrate it a little bit.
Sure. Well, I imagine, as we get closer to Reno air races and things and start seeing more of those activities, I bet you're going to see more and more people taking an interest in those flight simulators.
By the way, those were thanks to the a grant from XL Energy, those two flight simulators.
XL always involved in our community all the time and behind the scenes most of the time. So, love it.
Then we'll be passing out our little 2-page sheet, for example, everybody coming in, where you can go on to our website and click under education, and that's right there. You can actually, on your smartphone or on a computer, play 13 different YouTube careers. 38 professional pilot training videos are available, and that's a total of 12 hours. And those are actually really professional stuff that, you have 3 of those, I think, 15 minutes each. It talks about flying in weather, and then flying on. The picture 38 videos dealing with flying. And if you watched all those, you would be pretty smart chicken and pretty good leap ahead.
Absolutely.
If you're going to go out and try to become a pilot.
It's a great way to learn that this is what you're really into without investing the money and time and energy to
flight simulator. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
But this 38 videos is really getting into the the professional side of flying.
Well, and I as a consumer in life, I would like to travel on airplanes and have it not be a nightmare headache again. We need more people in the industry, please. We need. This is why we're we just had Labor Day weekend, and you got on the news and you hear all the delays here, and every time there's a holiday going on, and you hear about this stuff. They are severely short-staffed in the aviation industry,
and that's why we don't have a flight going to Phoenix.
Exactly.
They don't have enough pilots. They don't have enough all kinds of things.
So kids, study this stuff. This could be your future if you love flying. There are so many opportunities in that industry to thrive right now, and if you put in the time and effort to get your training and get your education under your belt, you can write your own ticket in that industry.
Yeah.
If you
so you could ideally you could go to our website, check out some of those 38 professional pilot training videos, and say, no, I'm not really cut out for this. Or, wow, this is really down my alley.
Absolutely. And there's so many aspects. Like you think, well, I'm not into it, but then you realize, it's like, I don't want to fly. Okay. There's so many jobs in the industry, maybe you're hands-on.
Air traffic control.
Air traffic control. That's, exactly.
Aircraft maintenance.
Those folks, aircraft maintenance. Put it this way. If you have your A&P license and you're certified to do all that, you are in demand. You're going to be making buku bucks because you're just...
And you got programs right here working with AirSail.
And you can go anywhere in the world with it. You could do it right here in your backyard, or if you want to take it, because I get it. You're young and then you fall in love and you go where the love takes you. And that career field will go wherever love travels.
That's true. But thanks to Juliana and some other folks, we on that website, besides... We listed about 50 different YouTube on careers that you can't touch and operate, but you can go look it up.
Gotcha.
And then we got about 33 that we selected that are interesting on aviation videos. Then you can go to our little thing, and it describes it. You have 3 pictures of us working with the kids. I think Bob Donnell and myself are in the background. You see the back of my head or something. But right above that, there's a block on STEM jobs.
Okay.
And you touch that on your smartphone and it goes right to ONET Online, which is Occupational Network Online on .org. And you get 331 STEM type occupations listed alphabetically.
Okay.
And you just touch one of those and you can get about 20, 25 pages of super detailed information about that particular career. And then if you go directly to that website, you can pick up a total about 1,040 occupations. You can put in, all kinds of welding, whatever you want, and it'll come up with what's the closest to that. And there's 1,040 listed or so approximately. And same thing, you get about 20, 25 pages of information on those careers.
Wow.
Then what we did was spend a few days with our 3 local phone books, and we've listed 480 STEM-oriented jobs in the Roswell region, but you'd have to go look them up on the phone book and contact those people. So if you're coming out, but there's lots of jobs you don't have to go to college and make money when they need people.
Kind of getting your foot in the door and getting
absolutely.
it into there, and as you progress in the career, you advance. I'd invite people to check out the Walker Air Force Base Museum's website. A lot of the things that Robert's talking about here, you're going to find the links to all of that. It's www.wafbmuseum.org, and that's short for Walker Air Force Base Museum, wafbmuseum.org. There you can see everything that Robert's talking about, some of the STEM career field stuff. If you want to learn more about the history, if you'd like to donate, there is a donate button. The museum runs grassroots and everything else, so if you'd like to donate, there is a donate now button there. Volunteers, they're always looking for members to serve as docents, to serve on the board, to just help out. So if you want to learn more about being involved with the museum, the website will have a lot of information for you there too.
Oh, by the way, we had a kind of a funny thing happen over the last few days. We had this lady call, and she makes a book.
Okay.
And in this book, her pet chicken sits around on stuff.
Okay.
So she showed up, and she had this, I thought it was a real fluffy little dog in her arms. And it's this really kind of old chicken.
Okay.
So she puts this chicken over by the flight simulators, and supposedly she took a picture, and this is going to be, Charlie's
adventures,
getting ready to work with the simulator, and then she puts it over by another display of some of the history. Charlie's checking out this history, But it's kind of interesting. They have a sign, no animals in the museum. But she came with this little chicken, and the guard kind of goes, fine, just whatever.
Right. He's like, you're just here to. Well, and I imagine she's probably got a TikTok channel or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's got a following.
Pretty well.
And so it's good publicity.
She was a lot of fun, yeah.
Maybe it'll turn on some folks that normally wouldn't know about the museum.
Then she can just turn it loose, and it just sit right there, and she'd get back and then take a picture of it. I told her after that, and I was working with her chicken
from
a while.
around here? Or,
No.
Okay, she's just passing through town.
But after playing with that chicken and doing stuff, I said, well, I guess I can't eat any chicken sandwiches for the next couple of months now. I feel guilty.
I would have been like, nope, I'm hungry. Let's go. I can eat an egg sandwich or something.
Yeah. Just a reminder, some of our current board members right now, Doug Weiser, I think he was on last month.
Yeah, he was on last month.
He's our president. And so it's myself, and then Doug Weiser, Allie Bishop, and Katie Yates, Sandy Correa, Bob Donnell, Juliana Halverson, Judy Armstrong passed away, bless her heart.
She was a board member emeritus.
Yeah, but she was actually the helped start the whole museum.
Yeah,
in the first place.
she's a legacy member of the Walker.
Jerry Klopfer, Friar Jarek Nowaki, Stephen Miller, he's a volunteer on Wednesdays, and then I mentioned Doug. Then Peggy Boland, and so anyway, and Josh Bootson is a new member of our board, but
awesome.
Maybe he's still advisory, but we're going to try to get him in to be the main thing. But he kind of deals exactly with what we're dealing with careers for kids in Mexico.
So he's a good asset to the group
absolutely.
There. He's
very, very good
probably
asset.
opening up to a few resources maybe you guys weren't even aware of.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Very cool. And they're always looking for more volunteers to be a part of it, whether it's serving on the board or serving as a docent, or if you love, maybe you're a vet that love this stuff, or maybe you just want to get involved, and it's a great way. Or maybe you're the STEM side. You're like, I love science, I love working with kids. Maybe that's your niche. But they're always looking for more. And let's face it, the museum is open generally around the flying schedule out at the airport, and more volunteers means more hours and things. So, if you're like, man, I love this museum, but I wish it was open more. Well, volunteer. That's how it gets open more. More volunteers mean more hours that we can allow this for the public to come in and check it out.
Yeah, and also, for example, with our contacts, we get, when we had the Western Pilot Services firefighting aircraft were stationed here for a while, they said, yeah, come on out. And so we coordinated, and we got a few people to show up, and they went out and put the kids in that cockpit. And
yeah, that's something else that the museum's kind of is the Sherpa for.
KC-135 coming in from
like
the 509.
Occasionally military comes into town to do some training, or they're passing through or something, and a lot of times they'll hook up with the Walker folks, and next thing you know, we got a group of kids from one of the schools coming out and hanging out with the Navy guys that are in town for a couple hours to work. That's what the museum does too, is put those connections together too. So really, the museum is very much involved in the community and partnering with our schools and our education to try to offer these opportunities for students in Roswell.
Yeah, I'm kind of a book person, and I mentioned in the past some books that I recommended that were pretty good. But just recently, Bob Donnell gave me this Killing Patton, that whole series by Bill O'Reilly. And
the Pat one's interesting because I do enjoy Patton history.
And so you find out initially, how he died and stuff. But each little chapter gives you the exact date, and it kind of marches through the dates. And sometimes it's combat things that are going on involving Patton directly, or one little chapter may be on President Roosevelt and why he picked Trump and why he was, not Trump, why Truman.
Truman, yes.
Yeah. I got the Trump on.
That would be that time.
Yeah. But, he knew he was getting ready to die because he had heart issues. He had all kinds of, steel things on his legs and able to sit up because he got polio late in life.
Yeah.
But,
FDR.
And it talks some interesting. I just get through reading that chapter on Truman. I thought, wow, I didn't know that. I think I read a book on Truman. But then there would be another chapter on Stalin's substitute for Christmas in, Moscow, and kind of why he did it this way, that way. He was an atheist, all that stuff.
Sure. Wow.
But it's just little sections of stuff that are going on in history, but it gives you some of the background or things behind the scenes that you didn't know before, like, wow, I didn't know that.
Sure.
I'm 81 years old, been reading books all my life, and I'm thinking, why didn't I know that?
If I remember it, they kind of give you a good feel of the temperature of the time, if that makes sense. Where you read a book and you read the dates and the history and this, but these books give you a good feeling of the feeling, the emotion of the time, some of the, which kind of explains the reason why someone did this or some way did that. And you look at history and read, well, so-and-so did this. And it's like, well, that's head scratcher. Why would they do it this way? And this book kind of, all right, well, now you know the emotional state, what was, and now that some of that information starts to make sense. It's like, okay, they're coming, if they're thinking from this place, that's why they went this way.
Some of the other ones, like Countdown 1945 by Chris Wallace, was the #1 bestseller. That kind of counts down to the Hiroshima and all the things that were going on in the background, and Enola Gay, kind of a similar one. This is written in 1977. Another book I came across accident was the World War II-100, and it ranks the 100th most influential figures in the Second World War. And you'll come across a lot of people that did key things in World War II that you never heard of before. They were like spies or women that did this or that and were key to certain events happening. So that was an interesting book. It was, I think, written in copyright was 2002.
Okay.
But anyway, just stuff like that. Now I've kind of found the one that a lot of people have been reading for years is the who killed, like Lincoln.
Yeah, the killing Lincoln.
Kill Lincoln, kill Patton. Kill
a
bunch of other.
Kennedy, I think there's one in there.
So I just went on Amazon last night and ordered 3 different ones that.
So your reading list is
so I just kind of bumped up. So I thought, well, if that's similar to this is kind of interesting, and you can read, one chapter a night before you go to sleep if you can last through maybe 6 or 8 pages.
Sure, depends how tired you are.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I get about 3 paragraphs.
Right, and you're like, it's not happening tonight.
No.
Yeah, but absolutely. I love. I'm a fan of all that stuff. So it's.
By the way, thank you for our supporters in the past.
Yes.
Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development, Glenn Furniture's given us a bunch of furniture out there. 6 Bomb Wing Reunion Group gave us some money. David Petroleum, Gerald Murray gave us some stuff when he left, money. And there's different things from Roswell Toyota, XL Energy, the ICAPA chapter, Beta Sigma Phi, and some other doctors around town, Dr. Kathy and Paul Engstrom and Lloyd Hughes. Aerosale was a big supporter, too, in the past.
Good deal. Well, we appreciate all those folks. And just to recap here, don't forget, Saturday, September 14th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. is Museum Day here in Roswell. 7 museums, including the Walker Aviation Museum, will be participating. You're going to need to get a passport for those watching on the video that looks just like this. You got one in the mail. If you have lost that or round filed it, you can get a copy of this passport at any of the 7 museums. Please note the UFO Museum, the International UFO Museum, you can get these before, but the day of you will not be able to get there because that's the one museum that charges here. And so if you have this passport, they will let you in for free, but they will not be letting in non-locals and things. So they got to make their nut that day and make money. They're a business, but everyone else, you can get them probably at that day and everything else if you don't get them. But get the passport filled out. On the back, you'll see all that, and then get your entry turned in, and you can win some great prizes, not only from each of the museums, but the overall grand prize too here. So definitely participate that and check out these museums. And I'm telling you, plan time to check it, because you're going to go into Walker Aviation. You're going to be like, wow, there's more here. Then you're going to walk into the McBride Museum, and like if you've never seen a Medal of Honor up close in person, they got one at the McBride Museum. If you never walked, or if you're a big Roger Staubach fan or something, they got all kinds of cool stuff at that McBride Museum. Make sure you visit all of these. The Historical Society, I remember that. Go toward the J.P. White home and see what turn of the century, wealthy life. Because let's face it, the Whites were an affluent family, and that house was state of the art at the time it was the turn of the century. Not so much now, but check it out. And same thing with Anderson Museum and the miniatures, and make sure you check out all of these museums.
They're going to have, by the way, don't eat breakfast.
That's right.
Because we're going to have like 50 cookies.
All right.
Or,
so you could grub
60 cookies.
All right.
But each museum's going to have cookies and drinks and stuff.
All right. So you could hit each one.
We'll probably just have little bottles of water, but have some cookies.
Sure. So you can do a snack crawl on top of your...
Get a sugar high on
That's right.
when you run around.
Well, that's right. So you'll have fuel for the later in the day stuff. But again, mark that on your calendar. Saturday, September 14th is Museum Day, our second here in Roswell. Check out the Walker Air Force Base Museum for more information about everything we talked about here today. www.wafbmuseum.org. If you're interested in volunteering or getting more involved, or if you have a youth group or organization and would like to arrange a specialized tour of the museum, or if you want to set up for youth to sit down and work with these simulators, we can talk to museum
absolutely.
folks.
Talk to your teachers, your scout group, church group, whatever. We're more than happy
to set those
schedule
up.
And come on out. We can.
Matter of fact, that's how they like doing it. They like to get your youth groups and work together and say, all right, we're going to pick a date and a time we're all going to get together. And
sometimes you can also coordinate. And if you bring out, we can handle 8, which is really a low number. But if you had, say, 16, we can coordinate, and for half the time, a group could go over and tour AirSail.
Yeah, it's like a rail
or could go over to
thing.
the university and do stuff. And then they come back, eat lunch, then flip-flop. And
you make a whole day of it. But
stuff like that.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's so much education, so much great stuff. So wafbmuseum.org is a website.
Yes.
Robert, is there anything we just skipped over?
I don't know. I've got 12 pages of stuff here I could talk about on the museum, but I don't think we have time right now.
Well, we'll have to catch it next time.
Yeah, that's right.
Here. But Robert, always appreciate it. And if we'll see you or Doug or both next month here, and come on out September 14th and come celebrate your amazing museums here in town. And don't forget, allot some time for that Walker Aviation Museum. You're going to find some cool nuggets and some cool things to see and look at, and things you may not even realize that were right here in your own backyard.
Like you said, we could use one more person if could volunteer to come out and open up the museum.
Yeah.
Then we'd all be just tied up with maybe one day a week.
Absolutely.
Because Bob Donnell and I are sharing 3 days, and then Allie Bishop comes out on Thursdays, and Steve Miller comes out on Wednesdays. So.
Okay.
But I tell you what, you meet a lot of neat people
Oh, yeah, if you're a people person.
I mean, I'm out there and you'll meet somebody and they leave and I think, well, that was worth the drive out here, just meeting and talking to those folks.
Chit-chat, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
That happens all the time where people come in, especially in the summer months when people are on vacations and stuff. They'll come in and they, their family or they were here as youth.
Yeah, or they were here.
Yeah.
The husband and wife, they were both working in base supply for about 10 years.
That's cool. Did they meet here or did they?
Yeah, I guess they met here.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway, they were just coming back and checking out everything. So.
See, I love that. And you get those stories. And then you start learning the real history of the town.
Yeah, or they come in and my dad was working on B-36s. So I'll show them the 7-minute thing of Strategic Air Command. Jimmy Stewart, I think, gets up and he shows a takeoff and a landing in a B-36. And
that's cool.
It's really close up and they go, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. That's the museum. So please.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait till the 14th, by the way. You can come out this week if you want.
That's true.
But
I'll be out there Thursday and Friday.
That's right.
But we're only out there for about 2.5 hours prior to the midday launch.
Yeah.
Because after that, usually nobody. That's on the website.
So you get there like right before lunch. That's usually the sweet spot there, right around that time. So.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, sir, as always.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, if not sooner here.
Okay, thanks.
All right, 7:56. Let's pause for news and maybe a sports report before we get you into more news. Don't go away.
Patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
Hey, Mary, come on in.
Thanks for the invite. Your house smells great. What is that?
I went and had a custom candle made at Farm and Ranch Candle Company here in Roswell. They're a local candle bar, and I was able to make my very own custom scent candle.
Farm and Ranch Candle Company? That is so cool. Do they have any other stuff?
You bet. They have a whole mega station to stock up on Trump tumblers, t-shirts, and more. Plus bridal and baby shower, handcrafted steel furniture, and so much more. Farm and Ranch Candle Company can make everything smell better.
Everything?
Well, almost everything.
I'll get the diapers.
Farm and Ranch Candle Company, where patriots shop. Stop by 117 East 2nd on the corner of East Main and 2nd in Roswell.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. Let's catch you up on some boys soccer. Last night, it was the rivalry game between Roswell and Goddard, and it was a close one, too. Roswell wins by a score of 2-1 over the Rockets. Roswell's now 5-2 on the season. Goddard still 1-6 on the season. Goddard did just get its first victory of the season back on Saturday, beating Los Lunas by a score of 4-0 after losing Friday to Los Alamos and Artesia. That was tournament play. And then Roswell, though, also in a tournament down in Las Cruces, lost to Gadsden to start things off on Friday by a 2-1 count, and then defeated Deming Saturday 2-1, and then knocked off Las Cruces 3-0. Julio Vasquez, Diego Guillen, Axel Sanchez all got the goals. NMMI lost last night at Clovis 5-0. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
On air and online, this is Roswell's home for talk radio. KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Federal prosecutors are targeting the senior leadership of Hamas. Attorney General Merrick Garland says that they've been charged in connection with the October 7th terror attack inside Israel.
As outlined in our complaint, those defendants, armed with weapons, political support, and funding from the government of Iran and support from Hezbollah, have led Hamas's efforts to destroy the state of Israel and murder civilians in support of that aim.
A 7-count criminal complaint's been filed in federal court in New York. Ahead of his scheduled sentencing in 2 weeks, former President Trump has failed again to have his New York criminal case moved from state to federal court. U.S. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein denied the Trump legal team's request, just as he has done before. Federal prosecutors say a former aide to 2 New York governors, including the current governor, Kathy Hochul, has been charged with acting as an undisclosed agent of the Chinese government. There's been growing speculation over the prospects for an interest rate cut and the possibility that such a rate cut could come soon.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell pointed toward a rate cut this month during a high-profile speech a couple of weeks ago.
The time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear, and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks.
While inflation is coming down, a majority of Americans in some surveys still complain about elevated prices, given that the cost of such necessities as food, gas, and housing remain far above where they were before the pandemic in 2020. The Fed's next meeting takes place in a couple of weeks. I'm Shelley Adler.
And there's been a turnaround on Wall Street. Stocks, which had been lower, now in positive territory. The Dow is up 201 points. The Nasdaq ahead 66. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Pope Francis urging Indonesia to live up to its promise of harmony and diversity and fight religious intolerance.
Indonesia is often held up as a model of diversity, where the Muslim majority coexists peacefully with smaller communities of Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, and many older faiths in a secular state. But the Pope warned his hosts that this diversity needed to be defended against religious extremism, a reference to the occasional attacks carried out by jihadist militants in Indonesia over the past 25 years. The Indonesian authorities have successfully marginalized the most violent groups, but human rights campaigners argue that the climate for religious minorities has become less tolerant.
That's the BBC's Jonathan Head. Egyptian President El-Sisi making his first official visit to Turkey after the two countries ended years of tensions. El-Sisi and Turkish President Erdogan set to discuss a range of issues. News and analysis at townhall.com. Attorney John Deaton won a three-way Republican primary facing off against incumbent U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who ran unopposed in this week's Massachusetts primary.
Deaton, a former U.S. Marine and cryptocurrency attorney who was born in Detroit, announced earlier this year that he would vie for a chance to challenge Warren as she runs for her third term in office. Relatively unknown in Massachusetts politics, Deaton faces a steep climb against Warren. She's a former Harvard law professor who has twice won a Senate seat but came in third in Massachusetts in her 2020 bid for president. She remains popular in the heavily Democratic state. Warren said in an email that she's accepted 2 October debates, one in Boston and one in Springfield. Deaton will face off against Warren in November. I'm Bernie Bennett.
First-degree murder charges filed against a 30-year-old man accused of fatally shooting 4 people while they were sleeping on a Chicago area transit train. Happened early Monday in Forest Park. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tabloid said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to our number
Tres Inviernos.
Mornings with Mike Winters. Right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Wednesday. Happy
Welcome to it.
Middle of the week. Got there.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway there. All that.
You did it, Sizzle Chests.
Yes.
Speaking of, I actually watched over the weekend like a little retro, or not retrospect, like a what happened to the Jerky Boys. Yeah. So come to find out, they did their thing. You know, they were doing like the 2-bar tapes essentially and making their prank calls.
Yeah.
But they were doing it for funsies. Like there's 2 guys. I don't remember their names for the life of me. But there's a white guy and there's an African American fella.
Oh, he's Arab.
Oh, he's Arab. I think you're right. He's a little darker.
Yeah.
After the Jerky Boys movie, they put out like another album, and then they split up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they apparently, the main guy, the guy who does like Saul,
Frank Rizzo
and all that. He was basically
dude.
saying the other dude was like glomming on, was never really contributed much of anything to
was all the Tarbosh
to the group, yeah,
and a couple others, yeah.
So they did not get along.
Oh.
But the main guy, it's killing me that I can't think of his name offhand. The main guy tried over and over and over and over again to revitalize and revamp the Jerky Boys to the point where they even put out an album in 2021.
Wow, that recent.
Yeah. Or
so
yeah, it's 2021.
A Jerky
him,
Boy.
as in him. With new bits, new prank calls.
He got a new partner or anything?
I don't know if he's got a new partner, but he still called it, the album was just called The Jerky Boys. But it didn't chart or anything.
Maybe he owns the name.
I think he does. I went looking for it on Spotify, couldn't find it. But he was like, at one point he was doing a podcast.
Uh-huh.
He was trying to launch a podcast. That only went like 17 episodes. Then another album. Then he was trying to like relaunch like a short series on YouTube.
Well, I feel like that guy went through about 10 televisions in the heyday of crank yankers. Like, I think he was turning on crank yankers, just throwing TVs out the window.
Infuriated. Like, I was this close to that.
Right? Like, that's what I think. I feel like crank yankers came on, and he's just throwing TVs out the window, breaking them left and right.
Spoony Love! Shatters TV. And those were big TVs back then. Those were CRTs he was breaking.
Heavy one.
But yeah, so the other guy, the Tarbosh, he broke off and started doing like real gritty, serious. He was like got into directing. Like writing, directing, and acting.
So he went legit.
And he went legit, yeah. But
legit to quit.
He released several movies that were like from the streets, gritty. He was a part of like there was a series, I want to say it was like a Netflix series, maybe Amazon series, a couple of years ago that he was like director of and a part
Do you remember the name of it?
I did.
I wonder if I stumbled across it at one point.
I'm gonna have to watch that video again to find out. But that's
odd.
He's broken off and done like some real like gritty content. Meanwhile, main Jerky Boy is just desperately trying to keep it alive.
Hold on to the brand.
And it's real weird too when you look at it, because this is a guy who's probably in his like late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Still trying to be a jerky boy.
Yeah.
You're a jerky man now.
Is he doing like bar shows, you think, in his hometown?
Oh, I'm sure he does. Like, he had like a stand-up tour. I have to find let's see.
I'm shocked that as of what, 3-4 years ago, there was a Jerky Boys new thing.
Yeah, it just came out. Okay.
I mean, like, does he have them available on like Apple Plus now at least, or is it still you have to buy a CD at the Hastings?
I'm guessing you probably have to get it off like iTunes or something. Okay, so the main guys are Kamal and Johnny.
Kamal, okay.
Yeah, Kamal
and Johnny. All right.
Johnny Brennan and Kamal Ahmed. Let's see. I'm trying to find out what Kamal did after the fact because he produced filmography. Okay, he directed. God Has a Rap Sheet. Let's see. Circus Maximus was the big one. That was in 2010.
I don't remember seeing it or nothing about, but that does sound like I kind of remember.
Crash the System, and they said it's available on multiple streaming platforms. So like, you can probably find it on like Roku TV. Honestly, that's the one he made in 2022.
Sounds like they're political thriller types,
right? But no, it's very like. From what I saw, it's very like. Guns, espionage, that kind of thing.
Okay, blow them up stuff. Yeah. Cool. Well, good for him.
Bend them up, blow them up. But yeah, but Johnny Brennan's still desperately trying to keep the Jerky Boys alive.
Well, now that I think about it, the other guy, I don't blame him for not coming back. Like, why do you want to hold on to that one? It sounds like he's doing just fine.
Yeah, the Jerky tapes came out in 2001. The Jerky Boys Prank Caller, which was an app, that was released in March of 2010. That didn't last very long.
Wow.
And then in 2007, Johnny Brennan released Saul's Rusty Trombone, along with, in 2012, the unreleased EP. And in 2020, that's when it came out, November 27th, 2020, it was just called The Jerky Boys.
I guess he figured everyone's stuck in a house. They're going to like this stuff.
Right? I know what I'll do. I'll annoy the bejesus out of you while you're in lockdown.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
He hit that. Those two hit a thing at the right time where they had a good run.
Exactly. It was right place, right time.
Yeah.
They struck while the iron was hot. And they said, Ahmed said the worst thing that they ever did, the worst decision they ever made was to make the movie.
Yeah, that movie was god-awful.
He said they could have just continued doing what they were doing for decades.
I lost. Like, you're absolutely correct. They went down so many cool points in my head when I went to see that movie. And I was one of those people.
I know. You were a fanboy.
Day one, when Jerky Boys the movie opened up, me and my boy Jay were the only two people in that entire theater watching the Jerky Boys. And this wasn't like a Tuesday afternoon. This was like a Friday night.
Nice.
Like, and this in the 90s, and the highlight of Moviedome.
Oh, yeah.
And where every theater's packed, on a Friday night. And sure enough, we were the only two people. I was like, this does not bode well. And then we saw the movie, and I'm like, I want my money back. I that was an hour and a half of my life I wanted to like it so bad.
And that's the thing is you want to like that because of their source material, but them trying to like rationalize the characters or build story, it's like we don't need that.
Yeah,
just call a guy sizzle chest a couple of times, and that's all I need.
Yeah, like, and I'll give you another example. Now, Impractical Jokers, their movie was better than the Jerky Boys movie.
Right.
But that being said, of all the things they've done, that movie's probably the least good thing.
I never saw the movie, but they were trying to like, correct me if I'm wrong, it was basically like not storylining the boys. Like they were like, and cut, and then it was.
Yeah, the only thing I think was maybe not scripted was some of the, like when they're on the side of the road and get pulled over, and like I think that's legit,
right?
Like Impractical Joker stuff. But the scripted side of it with Paula Abdul, it's funny, but it cheapens everything that they do.
You know who did a great job with that? And I know it's obvious, but Johnny Knoxville and Bad Grandpa.
Yeah, that's a funny movie.
The way that they interspersed the scripted stuff
with the real stuff.
This is actually happening.
And Impractical Jokers try to do that in that movie too. It doesn't like it. Like they at the end, they had to have an outcome to it in order for the story to carry.
Right.
Like the outcome, like yes, maybe some of it's unscripted on with the people, but at the end of the day, they've got to script it to a certain outcome to keep the movie going.
And that's what it comes down to: is that genre of entertainment does not need a plot. Under any circumstances, the first Jackass movie got it spot on.
Sure.
We don't need a plot or a through line. Just sketches after sketches. Yeah. Kind of like Kentucky Fried Movie way back in the day.
Yeah.
They actually got the concept right. It didn't have to have a through line.
I need to watch that in modern eyes. Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, I bet that's tough.
I bet it is,
I
too.
bet that's a real tough watch.
Because I'm not going to lie. Even in the day when I liked it, I had to be in a certain mood, like you watch, because I had HBO when you were a kid and all that, and certain movies showed up like every, and Kentucky Fried Movie was one of those movies that was on, seemed like every week at some point. And so I've seen it 1,000 times, but I remember there's sometimes I'm like, all right, this humor is just not, tonight's not doing it for me.
Right.
It's kind of a certain, because it's it's airplane humor, but on drugs.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
But it's also very of a time where just at random, you'll just see, here's the part of the movie where 15 topless girls run across the screen apropos of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's an acid trip.
That's how I feel when people are like when they talk about going back and watching like heavy metal.
Yeah.
In today's mindset and sensibility with the animation styles, it does not hold up.
No, the things that we thought were really cool, some of that just does not. I mean, got to be honest. Like, I remember that movie Train Spotting was like every teenage, like, you weren't cool unless you knew Train Spotting.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You watch that movie now, it's just a god-awful movie.
Unless, of course, you're on heroin. In that case, whew, it's a great watch.
Yeah, but I remember you were not cool unless you knew about Train Spotting.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was just that.
It was
stuff.
that. It was of that time, I think. You know, the Reality Bites era.
And to be honest, and I'm going to die on this hill. A Clockwork Orange is the most god-awful movie, and the people that like that and sit through that and love it, I judge you. Because that movie is god-awful, it's horrible, it is artsy bad, it's not entertaining, it is the dumbest, weirdest, stupidest, Britishy, stupid thing I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like, people that think this is cool, you are losers.
I'm not a
it's not
huge
good.
fan of it. I did enjoy the first time I ever watched it.
And I like some Kubrick stuff. But
Sure.
Clockwork Orange is a complete waste of time, money, and what is that? That's 2 hours of trope on a film that we could have saved that film for something better.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have the iconic scene where, you know, that everybody references, the holding the eyes open.
I don't need that.
It created a moment or a thing that we can reference.
I'm sorry, you're not going to get me going around gangsters with milk, running around gangsters. It's stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It was kind of interesting if you go back and watch the new Space Jam movie, and I don't recommend that you do this, but go back and watch the new Space Jam movie just to watch the crowds in the background to see who shows up, because it's all the Warner properties.
Yeah.
So just out of nowhere, the dudes, the Droogs or whatever they're called from Clockwork Orange, just show up and sit down at the basketball game.
Yeah.
It's like, this does not feel like it fits.
No, they try to crowbar. People want to be liked so bad, and I think that movie's this thing, and it's no. Trust me, it's okay to say that movie sucks. It's okay.
Yeah.
People will not judge you anymore.
It's not a personality trait, okay?
It does suck. You were right the first time.
There you go.
All right, 9-8 Speaking of art, we're going to play our interview with Greg Birch and author Cindy Sloan Butts here in just a sec. But first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Little bit of moist air hanging around for a while. We will have mostly sunny skies today, 80 to 85 on the afternoon high, but an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm may pop up. And then tonight, clear and low 60s. We'll get scattered showers and afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, upper 80s for the afternoon high. A few more showers possible on Friday and a little cooler. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, wrong one. Currently, that's not fresh. Man, I'm a bad host. Still 69, holding out there here in Roswell. Humidity at 78% with southeast winds at 7 miles per hour. Sunny and 85 today with south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy, 64 for an overnight low. South winds 5 to 10. Thursday, could wake up to some patchy fog, otherwise partly cloudy. Early, gradually becoming full-on sunny with a high of 87. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. There is a 40% chance at rain, showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 65. 20% chance of rain for Friday, mostly sunny and a high of 85. Otherwise, north winds at around 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy Friday night, 61 for an overnight low. And then looking at the weekend, sunny and 85 for Saturday, sunny and 86 for Sunday. All right, 9:19. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Then we're going to play our interview with author Cindy Sloan Butts and artist Greg Birch. That's up next. Don't go away.
You there! What are these?
My glasses, Your Highness.
They're incredible. Who made these?
The eyesight in Roswell. Or was it Hobbs? Or maybe Carlsbad.
So well crafted and stylish. So the eyesight thinks they can challenge my throne with their quality eyewear.
Actually, Your Majesty, I got 2 pair and an eye exam. It was so easy. I did it during my lunch break, and they even took my insurance.
Lunch break? Who gave you a lunch break?
Human resources, Your Majesty.
Silence! I'll get you eyesight!
The Eyesight, now accepting new patients 5 and up in Roswell, Hobbs, and Carlsbad.
Relocations?
Clearly the best in sight.
Welcome to the Oil Patch, hosted by Artesia Main Street, located at 519 West Main. Join us Saturday, September 14th at 6 p.m. for a vibrant community gathering featuring local makers and bakers, farmers and growers. Discover fresh produce, handmade crafts, and delicious treats, all while supporting our local economy. And don't miss the fun after dark. Stick around for a free movie on the Derrick Floor lawn. Bring your family, grab a blanket, and enjoy a night under the stars. For more information, visit ArtesiaMainStreet.com or Artesia Main Street on Facebook. The Oil Patch Market, where community comes together. Paid for by Artesia Lodgers Tax.
Hi, everyone. This is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. When was the last time you looked forward to sleep? Let's be honest here. You know a restful night's sleep has more health benefits than you consciously think about during the day. Here at Glenn's, we carry Serta mattresses, and they've been in the business for more than 90 years. Choosing one can be hard, but I want you to know we have your back. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda in Roswell, where delivery is free since 1953.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. That's because men are 6 times more likely to wear a tinfoil hat in a thunderstorm. Here's Mike Winters.
Good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, of course, local artist Greg Birch back with us. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Always a pleasure to have you in studio once again. And back with Greg here is New Mexico book author Cindy Sloan Butts back with us. Good morning, Cindy. How are you today?
I'm just great. Thank you.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us here and talking, and of course, with Greg. And for folks that don't know, when we had Cindy on last time, you've written many books. Your latest book, which is one we're kind of been focusing on here, this one is actually very timely in the terms of history. Your book is called Wooden Shoes, Windmills, and the Westerbork Camp, Jews of the Netherlands. And this is talking about internment camps during World War II in the Netherlands, which I don't think people necessarily, when you think of the Scandinavian part of Europe, you didn't think much about that kind of activity during World War II. But Greg and I were talking off air and said, well, when the Germans take over, the Germans take over. And that's, so.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And so,
by proximity, when the Nazis invaded Belgium and France and Luxembourg, Netherlands was the next likely target, and that's exactly what happened.
Wow! And so that's her latest book here. Now, the cover work we want to equally tout as much as the content inside, because that's
by all means.
That's where Cindy and Greg are a partnership here, where you've done multiple pieces of artwork for her books, and not this one, but past books as well too. So you guys have kind of worked a little tag team over the last few of Cindy's works of books and things here.
Yes, sir.
I won't publish without him.
Well, thank you.
I won't publish without him.
Well, and it's kind of, I find it interesting, with your book, and trust me, Greg, we're going to get to the art stuff, but since I just kind of started here, so I'll just keep that flow going. It's the world we live in now. It's election year. You see the war going on in Israel, Ukraine. You just see, So I feel like your book is one of those things which, when you read it, it's like I support the historical side of here. I'm a big history buff. That's been kind of one of my jams, and I know enough to know that people, if you don't study your history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's a cliche thing, but it is so true.
It's true.
It's true. And if you can't see parallels in our world right now to what was going on in the era of some of these books Cindy's writing about, then you need to study up on history, because it's very scary what we're seeing in the world right now. And this is why you got to pay attention.
Yes.
And that's why I recommend maybe grab a book or two like Cindy's here and maybe brush up on this stuff. So not to only learn history, but to, see what's actually going on in today's world under your nose here a little bit. Is that a fair statement, Cindy?
It really is. And prior to getting on the air with you, I did some additional research, not only for the purposes of continuing my work about the Holocaust, but just for keeping myself on top of what the world is doing. I came up with some really startling and unfortunate information that was published in The Atlantic is that 54% of the world's population, 2024, has never heard of the Holocaust.
Wow.
54%. And a third of the world's population believes that the genocide, only a third believes that the genocide has been accurately described, while 30% of the world believes that the Jews talk too much about the Holocaust. In other words, let's just give it up. It's in the past.
It's
So why do we need to talk about it?
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we've all had hard problems. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That, and you know what? This is that's the propaganda side. I mean, this is when you talk about history, and you look. We'll stick with World War II history. Propaganda. That's. There's two wars that always go on. We're not. There's the one with the tanks and the guns and the trenches and all that, and then there's winning the hearts and minds. And if you ever wonder how the Nazis got as far as they did, it's because they won the hearts and minds before the tanks and guns came out. And guess what?
Absolutely.
Guess what?
Absolutely.
We're living in a world where they're trying to win the hearts and minds here. That's all I'm saying.
Denial is just another form of genocide.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this is where good people have to wake up a little bit, because good people want to see the good in everybody. And I'm the same way. I'm like, look, I want to, I think everyone's got good intentions, but sometimes you figure out, and to be honest, I still think there's people that have good intentions. They're just seriously, they've drank the Kool-Aid. The propaganda has reached its target. It's done what it's supposed to do, and now, and that's why the things you're reading in the Atlantic are, when we were kids. We look at the Holocaust and we're like, oh my gosh, this is probably one of the most heinous human acts in our modern century here, and we learned it, and now 50. Well, I'm 50, so I'll say 30 years later. Now it's, you talk about the Holocaust. There's people like you said in these stats that you just gave, Cindy, and to me that's a scary thing.
It is.
That is scary. This is how we repeat history. You want to see those things come back? Keep denying stuff like this. Keep trivializing things like this, and see what happens in your own backyard.
One of the slogans of those of us who study the Holocaust and genocide and anti-Semitism and so on is never again. Mm-hmm. Never again, never forget. And for as long as we continue to remember what happened, we can, in our own ways, in our own space, make sure that it never happens again.
Absolutely. And so, please, this is where I beg young people especially, educate yourself. Read. This is why I tell people all the time, go watch CNN, don't go watch Fox News, go do it all. Get everything, because once you get all perspectives, somewhere in the middle is probably about where the real picture is on
exactly.
Right.
You can kind of delineate the spin versus the substance. And unfortunately, that's why you have to live in this world today. With the age of the internet and technology, it's a blessing and it's a huge curse. And this is the curse side, where it's easy to get information, but it's also easy to get wrong information. And that's where you the consumer, you the citizen, have to wisen up to understand who's trying to give you a straight information versus who's trying to spin you to their side, to their agenda, to their way of thinking. And they're not going to do it by being bullied up in your face. They're going to be doing it with bubblegum and candy and kumbaya on it, making it sound like a good idea.
That's right.
the reason the world you're in today.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And because my work is historical fiction, all of the documentation is accurate. And when I say I'm working on my next book, by the way, just for information's sake, which takes place in France, because as a person who considers herself a Francophile and having studied French for a million years, I decided that France was the last country that I was going to focus on.
Okay.
And when I come up with the fact that 13,412 Jews were sent to the Velodrome d'Hiver in Paris, that's not pulling data out of the sky. That's real stuff.
Absolutely.
So I'm responsible for that. To make sure that my historical fiction is historic.
So I'm just was curious, because this is, and especially when you talk with authors that do historical work, books and things like that. A lot of times, you know, like you said, a lot of it's digging. You're in libraries, you're in archives, you're going through dusty volumes of things looking for information. But some of that also involves travel. And since you're talking about places like the Netherlands and France, and do you get opportunities to go to these places as part of your research, or is the modern world just do it all in the internet and you know, through the modern ways of finding things?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Happily, I've had the experience of visiting Germany and Italy and France and Malta, which was a very crucial spot during World War II, and most importantly, Israel, having visited Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. But so a lot of what I've done is eyes on,
gotcha.
You know, but I haven't yet been to Warsaw, and I haven't yet been to Auschwitz, and those are all on my list of things that I need to do.
I have never either. The couple times I've been to Europe, Uncle Sam sent me there. So,
right.
So I didn't really get a chance to do a lot
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. But I didn't get a chance to do a lot of sightseeing. I did a little bit because I was in the Air Force, and we're the
good.
People.
Good stuff.
People like to work smarter, not harder. That's Air Force way. Yeah. So people give us hard times and stuff, but it's a pretty good gig. But anyway. Anyway,
it's better than fighting in the trenches, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm in the rear of the gear. But anyway, that is a bucket list thing. I'd love to go back to Europe, and I spent a little time in Italy, a little time in Germany. I've never been, weirdly enough, England and Spain and some of the, I was in the Azores for about 45 minutes. But I mean, I've never. So now, at some point, that's what I want to do. I want to go to Normandy. I want to go to Auschwitz. I'd love to go to some of these tentpole historical places in Europe and study some of that and see. I would love to even to go to into France or into see some of these towns and see where they are today compared to because a lot of these where they got leveled during World War II, and to see them now and see what's there. To me, that's fascinating to see. I love looking at old photos and seeing. For instance, I'm a kind of a Civil War nut, and I'm from Maryland, D.C. area, so I grew up, and so I was at Antietam Battlefield, and one of the things I loved about that, there's a bridge there called the Burnside Bridge. It's one of the pivotal parts of the battle. Well, I'm at Burnside Bridge, and at the bridge there's a picture with a historical marker talking about what took place here. But the picture of the bridge is taken literally a day or two after the battle, where they're still falling on the ground and everything else.
Right.
And that's cool to look at. But the thing that just kind of gave me the goosebumps and everything else is I'm sitting there looking at that photo, and there's the bridge in the picture, and just to the left of the bridge there's this little sapling tree that looks all beat up and dangled over after the battle. And I'm looking at the bridge, and there's this huge oak tree that's about 2 foot diameter, going up for as long as the eye can see. I was like, that's the tree. There's the tree at the battle. And now I'm looking at it here 100+ years later. To me, that just hit me different. And so that's why I love going to these places, to see that kind of stuff, to see oh my gosh, this. And then I look at the tree, I'm like, this tree's seen a lot, man. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about that.
Yeah, for real.
And so
that's great stuff.
So that's why I was kind of asking about the travel stuff. I was like, do you get those moments? Because for me, that's like my favorite part of history, and my favorite is when I see the picture then, I see now, and I'm like, wow, look at these, look, they're still here. That's so amazing to me. So anyway, I got off sidetracked here. But so I got to ask, now that now your book here, the Wooden Shoes, Windmills, and the Westerbork Camp, Jews of the Netherlands. This book is available right now. You can get it. Amazon, I think, is probably probably the best way to get it for folks? Or
yes.
I imagine if you're in the Albuquerque area, you might be in a few bookstores locally there. I don't know.
Yes, in fact, I'm doing a book signing Saturday at one of the local bookstores, Treasure House Books in Old Town.
Oh, okay.
So if you're an Albuquerque visitor,
Sure.
or if you live in Albuquerque, then I'll be there and signing books, and that's where you can actually get your hands on it right now.
You're a New Mexican, but when you're a New Mexican outside of Albuquerque, it's not uncommon for us to do 3-hour trips for lunch. It's just, we're going to go to Albuquerque, do a little shopping, do a little eating. So there's going to be there's going to be I guarantee, be a few folks from town. We're going to Albuquerque weekend for shopping or whatever. Hit the bookstore, pick up a copy. You can meet and talk with Cindy and get a book signed, and of course get a copy and maybe talk about the next stuff. So now this book is out. Now I know you said you're working on your next book, which is basically covering France and internment camps and things during that time. Do you anticipate it? Like how far in that process are we? Could it come out here in weeks or months? Or are we years away? What are we thinking?
Well, I'm my worst taskmaster. Okay. And as I was telling Greg before we got on the air, he's already started his research, right, Greg?
Yes, ma'am.
I say Greg's probably like, I already did the artwork. You don't even know the book yet, but I got the artwork done.
That's pretty much how it works.
He's got the title, and I'm about to send him the synopsis, which I've already done. But being that I'm a taskmaster and I seek to, every day that I'm not teaching, which is periodic because I'm a substitute teacher here in Rio Rancho. My goal is to create 500 words every day that I can work on my book. So my goal, this is going to be a longer book than some of the previous ones, just because I've already created the plot.
Sure.
But my goal is Christmas.
Okay. So
it'll be done.
I'm just gee-whiz curious about the writing process now because it just spawned that question. Because especially with your books, it's research to get it right, and then does it? I'm kind of curious. Do you do all the research before the writing, or do you do research as you write? I'm just gee-whiz curious about that.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Because let me give you an example. One of the pieces of this book has to do with what most people don't know about France during World War II, which was that the Vichy government, which was headquartered, believe it or not, in Vichy, was a dominant force from 1941 until about 1944, and it was pro-Nazi, and they were collaborating with the Nazis. Now, unless you know that in advance, you see the city of Vichy and you say, oh, ho-hum, it could be Versailles, and it could be Marseille, and who knows. But I have to stop what I'm doing and look up Vichy and find out whatever I can about Vichy, and then go back to putting the story together.
So it's kind of like, for me, kind of like you write it how I read it. Because sometimes I'll read things, and then I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I got to go do a Google search or something and come back.
Right. Because I'm learning as I'm writing.
Okay, cool.
I'm learning as I'm writing.
Excellent. Interesting. I was just, because I'm always fast, and I do it every time. I ask Greg about painting stuff. Yeah, I get a musician in here. I'm wanting, do you write in the shower? How does this work? I'm just, I always want to know how the sausage is made. So,
but sometimes my inspiration comes from sources that you would never expect. I had a teacher at one of the schools where I used to hang out quite a bit walk up to me and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I was at Costco and I found a book about the Jews of the Netherlands. Have you written at all about that? And I said, not yet. That's pre-Wooden Shoes, Windmills, and Westerbork. And she said, well, my family originates in the Netherlands, and it really would be nice to know something more about that. And I said, done. And so I launched Wooden Shoes, windshields, Windmills, and Westerbork. And
windshields would be good too.
Windshield, yeah. I'm looking at hummingbirds outside my window, and I'm thinking, I'd rather see them there than plastered against my window.
This is a true statement. But this is great. But if you can't get to Albuquerque, definitely look for the book on Amazon. Actually, if you probably type in her name by Cindy Sloan Butts, you'll not only see this book, but all of Cindy's other books as well. Because I imagine you'll find this one. You're like, I bet there's one or two other books that Cindy wrote that I might find an interest in as well too. So.
I have 9 in print. I have 9 in print. 3 of them are murder mysteries from New Mexico.
Excellent. So you do dabble into the nonfiction or the fiction as well as nonfiction.
Right.
Good deal.
That's where I'm going after I finish France.
Excellent. Well, I imagine just is it kind of like Like you, like obviously writing nonfiction and doing the research, that's work. But I imagine sometimes
Hard
writing
work.
the fiction that's where you get to play a little bit, because that's where the creative,
Exactly.
The history's history. You're reporting it, but with the fiction, you get to create. You get to create an environment. You get to get a little artistic flair, and so that's got to be the fun writing is the fiction work.
It is. It's stretching my artistic legs and being creative, and because I have the greatest illustrator on the planet, all I have to do is. It's true. It's true. All I have to do is say, Greg, I'm thinking, the best example was the Roadrunners and the Runaways of Roswell. And I said that to Greg, and boom, he came up with a great cover.
Nice.
So I have great resources.
Maybe that's the next one. Just tell Greg, paint me something, I don't care, and I'm going to write a story about it.
There you go.
Well, that's rough. That's pretty stressful.
Yeah, but it could be fun.
Oh yeah.
Of course, it depends on what Greg paints you.
Absolutely.
Could get with you out there. You never know. So.
There you are.
But
his work is so good.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, we'll call that segue.
Okay.
Greg is actually good. Of course, like we said, he's got his. You've been working with Cindy, and you've been busy creating stuff for there. But you've been very busy, actually doing stuff for Canvas to hang on walls and what have you as well. Too.
Yes, sir.
Probably one of the bigger ones here, and I don't know if we want to start there or do you want to go deep, but the Humane Society, which they have their big fundraising event coming up next month, where they're going to have a stand-up comedy night at the Liberty. Our very own Sean will be opening that night, but they're going to have a silent auction things, and you've donated one of your pieces of art, which by the way, Crystal over there is a fan, because I know she's privately bought works from you and stuff too. So,
yes, sir.
So that's pretty cool that you're able to donate painting to the Humane Society to help raise money for that group. So because I imagine your paintings can fetch quite a hunk of change for an organization like this too.
Well, sometimes. You got to stay humble in doing all this.
So when they ask you, or when you offer to do that, do you have something in mind when you do that, or do you pick a theme, or you're like, okay, it's Humane Society, do I do it pet related, or
no?
How does that work?
Crystal, I was just sitting there, and I was finishing up a painting of a new historical Billy the Kid painting.
Okay,
and just out of the blue, she sent me a message and asked me if I wanted to donate a painting to this. To the Roswell Humane Society.
Okay.
Well, I mean these that's for the animals that don't have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell you what they want,
Absolutely.
what they need. And they got to have food and stuff like that over there.
You see the most happiest moments in humanity and some of the saddest.
Yes.
Over at the Humane Society.
Yes,
because you see what people are capable of, and it makes you very sad and very angry sometimes. But then you also see the other side where you're like, what a loving human being that person is. And the Humane Society gets all of that there and through animals. So,
exactly. Yeah. So the first painting I came up with was this little jewel right here.
Oh, cool. See, I don't want, like I said, I deliberately not look at these until right now. How cool is that? So for folks that are on the radio that are not seeing the video side, it is a buffalo, but it's like a kind of like a collage within the buffalo of various other art of the buffalo, and it's got the Southwest theme. So Greg, kind of give us the story behind this.
Okay. Now, whoever gets this first mountain right here,
okay,
that was one of the mesas up there at Abiquiu that George O'Keeffe liked to paint.
Okay.
And it is one of the toughest paintings to paint. One of the mesas.
So it's like okay, I got
because this thing, the way that it faces, it's always changing colors on you. And if you take a picture of it, now you're going to be able to paint it.
Right.
But if you're sitting there painting it just in still life as you are, just sitting there, it's rough. So the second mesa, this one here is just outside of Chama.
Okay.
If you're going into Chama, coming up from the south, going up north.
Okay.
you're going to come across this mason. It just sits right out there. The only thing that's on this thing is just basically buffalo grass. That's it.
Just brown grass.
Exactly. And then this third one, it starts right here and it comes all the way down. And that one there is what they call, well, I call it the Tucumcari Mountain.
Okay.
And this is in Tucumcari.
Okay.
So basically, and the buffalo running here on the trail, let me finish off by that. The buffalo running here on the trail, this is just south of Cimarron.
Okay.
A few miles just outside of it. That was on the Santa Fe Trail that the Apaches used to always run these buffalo and kill them. So this is the historical fact that you're getting on this painting.
Sure. And then, of course, I see some of the natives, and it looks like they're in the buffalo hunting ground there. That's part of depicting, how they hunted buffalo back in that.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
That is such a cool painting because it's kind of like because it's a painting within a painting. It's a buffalo walking the plain, so to speak.
Scene on scene.
Yeah, but the buffalo is kind of an homage to New Mexico landscape and New Mexico culture.
Exactly.
Kind of very cool.
And that's some of the history that whoever purchases this painting, that's what they're going to be getting.
Cool. I love that. I love style of paintings where you have to sit and look a while because every time you look, there's something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things, and that's what when art can do that. To me, that's a home run. So awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But then I was just sitting there, and I was like, well, I can't do just one painting, especially for this cause, which is for our four-legged friends. And let's try to get a little bit more money for them so that they can help these animals and do where this money is going to go.
Humane Society really, I mean, they could not be open if it wasn't for people donating food and litter and toys and cash all the time. I mean, they do what they can with it. That thrift store really helps. That if it wasn't for that thrift store, I don't think that Humane Society could function.
Well, and I don't want to over exaggerate one to the other, but in a way too, this is kind of like doing these book covers for Cindy, as well as how I see these dogs, because they're caged inside of a house and they don't have a voice, and neither did these Jews. Is kind of how I see it. And that's why I've got so much. Yeah. That's why there's so much meaning into this that I want to do.
Absolutely, you can definitely see a parallel there, and that's and just a quick plug for the Humane Society. Always remember, when you're going there to adopt an animal, remember you're seeing them at their worst.
Exactly,
you're seeing them in jail basically, and so once you get them out of that environment a little bit,
it's up to you,
and you'll see the personality come out, and you'll see what truly cool animal you got there as a friend. So, but always remember that
reflections of you.
Exactly.
They're going to be reflections of you. If you're kind and loving and caring, then your dog is going, or your cat is going to wind up being exactly the same personality.
I got two cats that are spoil rotten right now.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I was sitting there and I was like, well, I can't to this cause, because this is for our fur friends and our four-legged friends. I need to do a second painting, and so. This one is still wet.
All right.
It
so
hasn't
no touchy.
had time.
No touchy.
Exactly. But Crystal, she knew nothing about this.
Okay.
She only expected the one.
So you went a twofer.
And so I told her, I said, here was my little twist that I wanted to do. Would you accept this second painting for the silent auction? And sure enough, they accepted it. And here will be the second painting that somebody can win.
Oh wow, that's
You're
amazing! Look at that. Sorry,
You're amazing.
Sorry, give me a second here because I got to describe for radio people. So this one, okay. Think of the similar, but when I said the buffalo, this one is a wolf, and it's in just the head and neck part, and it's kind of howling at the moon. But again, it's Greg Birch. So within the wolf, there is different. New Mexico, we see a mountain scene with the river. There's the moon in the background. It's really kind of a cool. Now is it in the sky, or is it almost like an ocean underneath there? I'm trying to.
Basically he's coming up out of a clouded image.
Yeah,
and then you've got the Aurora Borealis right up here across the top.
That is impressive.
Well, thank you.
And I love how the tears coming out of his eye go down to the river into the waterfall. There is pretty impressive. So is that another historical landmark in New Mexico?
The mountain?
The mountain, yes.
The mountain, basically, no, you can say that it's up around the Oregon Mountains because that's where they re-released the Mexican gray wolf.
Okay, so it's kind of an amalgamation of the mountains up there. It's not a specific mountain.
No,
Gotcha.
it can also be up in northern New Mexico.
Okay.
So I didn't put a specific mountain that this is who it is.
Excellent. Well, I imagine people that are going to the Humane Society's event are going to be animal lovers, and I think some animal lover will love to have that painting hanging in their home somewhere.
Well, I hope they like it.
It's a beautiful painting. I mean, I'm trying to decide. I think because of the color scheme, I think I like this one a little better than the buffalo. But they're both amazing. But I like the blues. I think it's just like the blues draw
the blues
me a little
and the
bit.
purples.
Yeah, it kind of it just makes me a little happier for some reason.
But this one here was just more on the graphic side.
Sure, but it's beautiful.
What I put on that one.
It's very, but that's what, it's so much detail to it, and that's one of those thinking ones to me. Like you're sitting there and you're like, all right, and then you come back next day, like, was that there last time? No, he put that in. It wasn't there last time. And so I love that.
Now,
can the author throw a word in here that
yes, ma'am.
Really is indicative of what Greg does?
Yes, ma'am. Fire away.
Symbols. His work is full of symbols of New Mexico and our life here and our history and everything that defines this beautiful state. So all of his work is seriously symbolic. The bison are symbolic. The wolves are symbolic. And that's what makes his work so great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is what also goes, I think, to your credit is Greg does this, and this is what your passions are, but then in a minute, you're like, I can paint you a cartoon character. I can paint you something completely...
Metallica.
Yeah, something not so deep.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Something just to enjoy. So we're running short on time, so I want to get you a chance to talk about some of the other things you got going on, too.
Right. Right now, I'm in talks. Actually, this afternoon, after I get done, I got to go drop these off to Crystal.
Okay.
As soon as I get done here.
Might want to make that one dry a little bit more. You know, dogs and stuff, they might get licking on that.
Right.
Might look a little different after a while.
But anyway, I got this new painting that is of the Santa Fe jail. It's lost to history. It's no more. You can't, if you go up there and try to look for it now, all you're going to see is a parking lot.
Gotcha.
That's it.
No,
the building's gone.
No, even a remnants of a foundation or nothing.
Nothing.
Gone.
It's just blacktop.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so anyway, I contacted the Palace of the Governors. Everything up there is kind of like down here at the Historical Society.
Mm-hmm.
It's by appointment only in order to get into the Palace of the Governors.
Okay.
And anyway, I got to give them a call back this afternoon, and hopefully this new painting, that's where it will sit.
Ooh.
So you will see it next to the authentic picture, which ain't very big, that shows what the jail looked like, but you'll get to see it in color.
That is so cool. And that's something we didn't mention this time. That, by the way, Greg's pieces are in various museums and government buildings. And
more to come.
Yeah, they're all over the country, not even just here in New Mexico, but all over the country, but some even in out of the country, too, I imagine. So, good deal. Again, get the latest book from Cindy or any of her books. Follow them on Amazon. Just look for Cindy Sloan Butts. Do your Amazon search there, and you'll find not only her latest book here, which is, again, entitled Wooden Shoes, Windmills, and the Westport Camp, Jews of the Netherlands. Let me put it on that camera for they can see it better on that one. You can find it there on Amazon as well.
And this one here, she will be doing the book signing this Saturday up in Albuquerque.
Yes. What was the name of the bookstore you're going to be at again, Cindy?
Treasure House Books.
Treasure House Books in Albuquerque. You can come by. What time are you going to be there? What time there on Saturday?
It's in Old Town, and the book signing is from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m.
Okay, 1:30 to 3:30 at Old Town there at the Treasure's bookstore there. Awesome.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you can find Greg on Facebook if you want to commission work from him, or if you want just pick his brain about stuff. He loves talking. So if you want to chit chat, you need a friend. Maybe you might even make a new one if you hit up Greg on Facebook.
And the
awesome.
website is coming. It is in the works. It's coming.
More to come. Stay tuned. So.
Yes, sir.
I know somebody who can write the copy for you.
There you go. First employee right there.
There you go.
She can handle helping that. So excellent. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for spending time with us here. And we look forward to our next conversation. And we can't wait to imagine next time we'll talk to you, we'll probably have a new book coming out here to talk about. So we do appreciate it.
And we'll do it in English and not in French. How's that?
That would help much. I would understand way more of it because past we and that's about all I got.
Bonjour?
In French. Yeah, bonjour and
Merci.
That's about my
Merci.
I can hang a little bit longer in Spanish, but not much longer. So
Thank you so much.
thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Greg, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay. All right. There goes Cindy. We gotta take a quick break before news. So don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Right now, get crazy low prices on all new Fords and quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. And top dollar for your trade. Stuck in your loan or lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. So you can drive a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle for a lot less. For a limited time, get 0% APR and $3,400 in bonus cash on 2024 F-150 trucks. And make no payments for 90 days. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Roswell Ford has partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford with new management and a whole new attitude. 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 36 months is $27.78 per thousand. Subject to lender approval through Ford credit. Offers not combined.
Artesia General Hospital has welcomed cardiologist Luther Weathers to the team. Dr. Weathers is board certified with a subspecialty in cardiovascular diseases. He treats patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
Now, your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Sorello. The city of Roswell having some second thoughts after reconsideration by the mayor, mayor pro tem, and city manager of the new Roswell water rate system. Mayor Tim Jennings says he will place an item on the September 12th city council agenda to repeal and replace the recently adopted water rates ordinance. The action, expected to be considered by city councilors at the upcoming regular council meeting, will include repealing the tier structure rate system that was recently enacted and replace it with a substitute ordinance that will include the more familiar flat rates. After hearing from citizens and discussing the matter further, city officials decided the tier structure system that provided for differing rate tiers based on customers' water usage was, quote, overly aggressive. New Mexico's Public Education Secretary Arsenio Romero has resigned. Earlier this month, New Mexico State University officials announced that Romero was one of 5 finalists for the job of president of their university. According to a report by the Santa Fe New Mexican, Michael Coleman, a spokesperson for the governor's office, said the governor gave Romero a choice to either resign and continue pursuing the NMSU position or stay on the job and withdraw his candidacy at NMSU. The governor said she believed it was critical the person filling the public education department's top job be fully committed to the job. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Little bit of moist air hanging around for a while. We will have mostly sunny skies today, 80 to 85 on the afternoon high, but an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm may pop up. And then tonight, clear and low 60s. We'll get scattered showers and afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, upper 80s for the afternoon high. A few more showers possible on Friday and a little cooler. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Talk radio has landed on the all-new 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. This just in Winder, Georgia. Details still sketchy, but police have swarmed a high school campus after it was placed on lockdown and students have been evacuated to a stadium. It wasn't immediately clear what prompted that lockdown. U.S. has charged the leader of Hamas